Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Compton J. And what's up, Nick? How you doing, Nick?
What's going on, CJ? It feels like we were just here almost. Like it's crazy. But I look forward to these Monday shows. By the time we get to Monday, there's so much stuff that I want to bring up and I
Much
want to talk
stuff.
about.
Yeah.
And if you guys saw like the last few episodes, like my entire goal on this show almost just to try to show CJ crazy shit, just to see his reaction. So
Yeah. I noticed that. I noticed that. Trust no politician. Yeah.
we got
We're starting it off right. That's a great comment to start it off.
yeah, trust no politician. That's the theme of the show. And that's why like you gotta see, like, man, they definitely mess with us. That's why if you like the channel, you like the stream, definitely give it a share, man, because a lot of other places they're gonna tell you especially with this next year coming up, a lot of places are gonna tell you to trust politicians, invest into them, invest into your future, invest into democracy. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. I already starting to see the messages that coming out. So I want people to remember. I want people to have this mindset coming into this year that we gotta rely on ourselves. Like we gotta start building community power. We need to stop giving these people power, and that does go into what we talking about today because we see what happens when we do that. Like when we rely on the top-down electoral politics approach.
Hey,
And
Nick, let me just tell you this. When you're saying building a community, I got to tell you this story. It's anecdotal. My wife, who's not a leftist like me, she's not a liberal, thank God, but she's more like a Tulsi, almost like a not a libertarian, but almost like a libertarian, sort of. But when she starts to hear in her community, we need to start building a community outside of the government. And she showed me this today, Nick. I was like, wow, you guys are starting to hear the same thing that we've been talking about. That's a breakthrough. I just wanted to say that when you mentioned that. Go ahead, Nick.
And don't get it twisted, guys. There's something inherently within people that wants that. Like that's how our people was. Let me start with my phone. That's how people advance to our society growing up in our culture. I mean, we grew up in small knit communities. We had community protection. This entire system of global neoliberal capitalism, where we live under this intense police state, this nanny state, if you will, is relatively new in the history of humanity. So there are people who don't care about politics, and I told the story about my sister multiple times, and I hear this a lot ever since I got into politics. My sister's told me straight up, she's like, I don't give a fuck about politics. I never did because I knew both parties didn't care about me. And my sister is the least political person. She don't read a lot of news, but there's that innate understanding that people have.
Yes.
That these people don't,
because you live in it, because you're living it. You're living it. It's like, yeah, something not quite right. Like people are living it. So that's that thing that I think a couple of episodes or maybe last episode, I was like, we have to tap into that. Not trying to convince these people who are like real, all far right or far wherever, something crazy, far liberal. Like convince the people like your sister. Like my sister's the same way. She's very like she don't watch news. She doesn't do any of that type of thing. Like she just kind of votes where black people vote Democrat. Oh, okay, vote Democrat. Like that's kind of how she is. So that's who we need to tap into, in my opinion. But
and then, I don't think my sister vote either. Like that's how apolitical she is. But and then she told me this something that always stuck with me. I cannot believe it. But she told me this was like maybe last spring. Like this was a while ago. Where she like, actually, she like now I'm a little bit more interested because I like what you say. She like I never heard the building community, rejecting both parties. Like she like whenever she would hear people talk about, yeah, we gotta vote for Democrats. She not well read, so she didn't she couldn't explain why it's bullshit. But she was repulsed by the idea
right.
trust the party. Like, and then she like after hearing you, like, yeah, I actually fuck with that. Like she I actually want to read more about. I need to check on the progress because it was like 8 months ago when she told me this, and my sister never cared about politics ever. And then she was like, maybe I need to start reading more about Black history and that stuff. Because like, you guys watch my stream, we talk about Black empowerment, we talk about this is stuff my sister never heard. And then they just tune in my show every once in a while. She's like, actually, I like that shit. And so when I went on that rant, and I'll talk to when the friends of the show, like we talked afterwards, and then like I'm not even mad, like bro, I know like we were just having a little debate, and he didn't like the fact that I said fuck Trump supporters. And I gave that same reason. Like, if you stuck in the two-party diagram, I'm not really interested in like making the effort to try and win you over. Because I talk to these people who are not political. They're not political because they don't like the U.S. system. They don't even, and when you talk about building community, and when I explain mutual aid to people, like these are concepts that it's hard to understand as a leftist if you're listening, but we never heard this shit before. Like in public school, like, I was learning about mutual aid and building less community. That was through like the last few years of me organizing with leftists, learning more from leftists. So when I explain this to other people, they're like, "Oh, shit, I didn't even know this stuff, like for real." But they down for that shit. Like I remember when I gave the speech at the Medical for March, I had people, the video I went on Facebook. Once again, none of these people that care about politics, they're like, fuck with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I had people like, yeah, let me know when the shit like that go down. Like, I want to go. You see that?
That's because when you speak the truth, when you're just talking life and how life is fucked up and the reasons why life is fucked up, people can relate to that. And I do agree with you, Nick. I do believe that the people we need to speak to and build community to are the people who are not in this red blue fight. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people in the red blue fight are going to see us and be like, wow, they're building something beautiful. Let me get out this bullshit, because they know it's bullshit, but they're telling themselves, you get what I'm saying? There's liberals that know that this is bullshit. They know. But it's like, what else do I do? Like, I need to pick the least of the worst sides, and then when I pick them, I have to act like I'm advocating for them like they're not terrible. So when they see us building this community outside of this type of living, they're gonna gravitate to that. So whether by trying to convince them or them just seeing by example, I do believe some liberals will come aboard. But again, go to people who are apolitical. That's what I believe. That's the way forward in building a community, because it's good in a sense too, because those people aren't tied to a party, so they're willing to fight both parties. You get what I'm saying? They're not tied to any party, so they're willing to fight both parties. So
these people are repulsed by the bullshit. That's why I don't spend a lot of my time. Like, we will do a funny segment every once in a while, but I'm not really worried about what propagandists say, because whenever you hear some crazy shit from Ben Shapiro, like how he said, "Oh, black people are thugs who deserve to die. We need to fund the police more," and that kind of shit. I'm like, whenever I hear that shit, I don't even feel any threat. Like, because when ordinary people hear that shit, they're like, ugh.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and actually, I always I love to talk shit on both sides, because you guys know how much I bash liberals, and we're gonna have a lot of bashing in the stream, trust me. But I like to probe conservatives too. I like to talk about their intellectual consistencies, right? And I saw MSNBC and I saw CNN was trending, and they was going over the numbers, and people talking about how Joe Rogan had like 11 times the audience of CNN and MSNBC, which is very revealing. But then there's also a lot of like conservative, a lot of Tucker Carlson fans, Fox News fans, who would look at the numbers. They see like Fox News get way higher numbers than CNN and MSNBC, and then you see them brag about that. They use that as a good thing. Like, they're like, "Oh my God, see, the Fox News are killing the game. Fox News got more ratings than Rachel Maddow. Ha ha ha, got you." And when I see conservatives say shit like that, I'm like, that's not the burn you think it is. Because you know what that actually reveals, CJ? Because when you look at the percent of Democrats and Republicans, it's around the same. It's around the same. And then you got independents that dwarf the numbers of Republicans and Democrats. 50% of the country are now independents. So when you actually see that Fox News is dominating MSNBC and CNN, that's actually an indictment of the Republican conservatives, because that shows that a lot of them still believe and they still trust cable news. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. So when you look at the ratings that they get, like, add all those numbers up. Add those numbers up. That's like 3 or 5% of the population.
Right. It's very small. Like a good show on cable news, good ratings on cable news is 3 million people. Just think about that. Yeah, 3 million people. Yeah.
I think Tucker gets 3 million. And it's like, bro, that's 1% of the population who buys this bullshit. So why do people feel the need to spend so much of their time like makes, oh my God, debunk him? This is so important, right? Like, if you build your community, and this is what we do, you have revolutionary discipline. If you had community love that is ingrained in your local politics, which is the most important, like in the community that we're building as well, you don't even have to worry about those talking points. Like the education that like we try and give you guys. Like, I know that you guys can go watch Fox News and be like, oh, that's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you watch, if I believe if anyone who subscribes to RBN and watch all our stream, if they watch Rachel Maddow, they immediately be like, damn, that's bullshit. Like if they watch TYT, they be like, damn, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
So I don't like. There's no need to do the diss videos. You know what I mean? Like you can just focus on the issues. Like when you talk about the history of the CIA and how the CIA infiltrate left movements, and then when you see TYT downplay that, like they recently did, when they had to respond to the remember the story we just covered with the CIA investing in bread too, and it was called,
oh yeah, last week, yeah,
like
absolutely.
apparently Cenk Uygur like and TYT did a whole story that was meant to downplay that. That was like, oh my god, this is craziness. And then it was called out by obviously the revolutionary discipline people that watch our channel and the people who watch people that actually talk about the history of CIA. Because if you know the like the malinvestment that they put into infiltration and the control of the narrative, the idea of someone shooing their way, the CIA infiltrating a giant media like social media that dominates cable news, that is, you will know that someone shooing that is deeply unserious. Why do I say that?
Right.
Because we just talked about the waning influence of cable news. So we know for a goddamn fact, because they admitted it, that the CIA invest into CNN, MSNBC as well. That's why they always get CIA analysts on those panels. And they infiltrated corporate news and they make sure they can control the talking points. So if they infiltrated corporate news, why do you think they didn't infiltrate social media? They didn't infiltrate YouTube, Facebook, these things that we know. Like we know the CIA went after the Sandinistas, right? But they was downplaying it. But we want to make sure we got people educated to the point where they can see, where they see that, like, oh my god, that's a red flag. Like that's a red flag. So it's all about, if you focus on the issue. That's what I'm saying. If you focus on the issues, the people in your community will see through the bullshit. And
that's who we need. That's the people who we need to go out now. Excluding this last election, before this, there's usually like 100 million people that don't vote at all, or more that don't vote at all. And those are the people who know that this shit is bullshit. Like they know that it's bullshit. That's the reason why they don't usually participate in it. So they get it. So I think we need to tap into that community, that 100+ community, where of people who don't. So the people that say no, I don't vote. Oh, okay, you're the person I need to talk to. So and I do believe that may be disproportionately people that are like that, Nick, are in our community, in our Black community, and the people of color who are just saying like, I don't vote, I give up on it. Just think, if you live in the Nickerson Garden projects in Compton right here in LA, if you live there, why would you vote? What about your life says voting works? You get what I'm saying? What about your life says that? So why, like, you get what I'm saying? Just think of it that way. So when people like Michelle Obama, everybody has to come out and vote. If you don't vote, that's no. But think about those types of people who are living like that. Think about the person who don't have health care, but you're telling me to vote Democrats? We've been asking you for health care for how long? My wife has this ailment. My husband has this ailment. And you don't even want to debate healthcare for all? You don't want to expand it. They're talking about expanding it 5 years, expanding it 10 years. Like it's unserious, and I don't understand the participation in it. But let's segue to the first story, which is AOC. And I want to have a lot of audience participation for this story in particular, about AOC abandoning Amazon workers. And I'm going to share the story. It's the New York Post story, Nick. I'll put it up there for us to get started. 1 second here. New York Post. There we go. All right. So Amazon workers were heartbroken after AOC bails on promise to march with them. So this story here from the New York Post, And I'll just read maybe the first couple of paragraphs here. Rep AOC, I'll just abbreviate it. Rep AOC is ghosting her comrades on the front lines of a labor battle against Amazon. The socialist lawmaker. Now, I just hate the fact that they're calling her the socialist lawmaker here, Nick.
They had to play. They had to play along. Like they actually play along with the progressive bullshit.
I just have. That's terrible.
I just want to add this. I just want to add this one thing too.
Go ahead.
I actually talked about this on the stream, like maybe a few months ago, where I was reading this story and they were saying the squad who supports defunded police called as hypocrites. I'm like, the squad don't support defunded police. What? And you see how the media actually helps them in their image.
Yeah.
Like, the image.
Do you think they're getting it wrong, or you think it's purpose?
It's on purpose because
it's on purpose. Yeah.
Their role is to be the progressives, and when we call them out on their bullshit, like when they help fund the police more, to me that immediately exposes you as a liberal because you believe in giant violent state budgets, right? That's literally what that neoliberalism, giant state defense budgets and giant police budgets. So if you are for that, and if you're for Israel weapons deals, you can't call yourself a progressive. But actually, they serve their purpose. They're supposed to be the progressive flank of the Democratic Party. So they will repeat. So even in pieces that are supposed to go after them, they will do PR for them in a way and make them sound more anti-establishment than they really are. And I called it out. Go ahead, CJ.
No, I was just gonna double down on what you're saying. So sounds like what you're saying is these media outlets are helping to keep in place the Overton window.
Yes.
What you're saying, they're helping to say, because you can't start calling AOC a moderate. You get what I'm saying? Then that means what? That means somebody's to her left. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead, Nick.
You want to know how deeply unserious these people are? And this is what you're going to get on the Nick and CJ show. You're not going to get anywhere else. Because I remember when I made that argument, because there's still people who do good, decent work that still pretends the squad supports defunded police. It blows my mind. And I remember I did a segment I covered, and I said, "Yo, the squad does not support defunded police. Look at what they what they voted for. Look at what they complicit with. Look at the party that they continue to prop up. Look at the people they fund, the people who take money from the police. They don't support it." So then you want to know what people's counter to that was? I saw people say, "Oh, Nick, you're wrong to say the squad don't support defunded police." They tweet in support of it. They say, "Yo, they got this. Their rhetoric is pro defunded police." And once again, what do we say on this show? I don't give a fuck about your rhetoric. I don't give a fuck
at all.
I don't give a fuck what your voting records show. And the squad was complicit with funding the police march on January 6th. So people were still pretending that they are for defunding police. I'm like, show me the voting record. And then people had no response to that. And people were still like, well, they said, Jamal Bowman said, I'm like, bro, that doesn't fucking matter to me. You gotta see how even the people who criticize the people we criticize, how they can get it wrong. Like how even they can be unserious and they fall for shit. They call AOC a socialist lawmaker. Why, CJ? Because is she advocating for socialism? No.
Absolutely not.
She may have tweeted about socialism a few times.
Did they really respond with that? Did they really say she tweets about it, or they just kind of?
That was a long time ago, guys. I can dig it up if you guys.
That is just no. You don't have to do that. I was just saying that is just ridiculous. But this tweet I just sent out, what was it, yesterday? Who cares if you support an issue or policy? I care if you will fight for an issue. Or support is not enough.
Yeah, I could care.
It's not enough.
I could care less. I could care less. If you say you support a policy, if you're enabling and giving power to people that is actually doing the exact opposite. It's one thing if they're not doing enough, right? Like it'd be one thing like, oh damn, that means your plan is just ineffective. But they are doing the
exact opposite. So that's what I said. And this is where people I really want to start pushing, stop sending them money and stop asking for support of an issue. Because support means literally in politics, it means nothing. Let me say this. Joe Biden supports a $15 minimum wage. What does that support look like? He's the president. What does that support look like, Nick? It looked like no support. So support in politics literally means nothing. It is a gesture. It's like putting on makeup. It's all cosmetic. So you ask now, you demand, what are you going to fight for? Physical actions. You ask. Now the next people you're going to be voting for, these so-called progressives, you ask them, what are you going to fight for? What are you going to fight for? Not support. Now, the problem is, Nick, you can ask these questions to these politicians like AOC, and I recently saw the video. AOC being interviewed by Glenn Greenwald before she got elected, saying, I'm not going to support Nancy Pelosi, right? We need new leadership, right? But then she gets in office, and now what does she do? She supports Nancy Pelosi. So, but you get the point that I'm making. I'll put that story back up there, Nick, if you wanted to. Actually, let me finish reading that.
There's still more we can talk about this, but go ahead, CJ.
Let me just finish reading it because we stopped there where it said socialist. So the socialist, I'm just going to say the lawmaker. I can't keep saying that. So the lawmaker promised organizers she would stand by them at a rally outside a Staten Island warehouse trying to unionize, but dropped out at the last minute. I wonder why. And protest leaders revealed to the Post this week that they were so crestfallen that they didn't even bother inviting her to a follow-up rally in December. So they're trying to unionize Staten Island warehouse. She promised to come march with them, show support. You know what that would have done, Nick? You know what that would have done if she would have showed up? You know how many places, Nick, that are thinking about unionizing, that if squad members just showed up in support, you know how many people would win those votes? And why aren't they doing stuff like that? If they're real socialists, that's what a real socialist would do.
AOC has 12.7 million followers. I'm not even going to bring me into this, but let me ask you guys this. Can you guys imagine what someone like Rome, for example, will be able to accomplish with 12.7 million followers with Tour for the Poor? You got 12.7 million followers. Do you understand the mountain she can move on labor issues like these? Do you understand the effect that she could have had during the Medicare for All march? Because I tell people this, and people still don't know this to this day, that the March for Medicare for All was to raise awareness on the fact that Joe Biden has the executive authority to give us health care without the use of Congress. He does not need Congress to do that because since we are in a pandemic, a health event that they declared a national emergency, he has the executive authority to expand Medicare, which he can do. If anyone who know MMT, anyone who know the trillions of amount of money we gave to corporations under this same guise with trickle-down economics, he could easily get healthcare to everybody if he wants to. Do you know how many people don't know this? The amount of people who are unaware that Biden has this power that he's choosing not to use. So the whole point of the March for Medicare for All that our amazing friend Savage Joy organized was to spread awareness on this fact, because that was the demand. So can you understand? 12.7 million followers. There are people who smeared the Medicare for All march who say, oh my God, you guys actually think you're going to march and get Medicare for All? That's what they said. That's what Hassan said when he dissed the Medicare for All march. And the people who actually serious, the people who actually know what's going on, we were saying it has nothing to do with that. We're trying to tell people that Biden can do this, and we need to start a movement so he can give us Medicare for All. But people don't know that because AOC.
Who critiques the people
AOC
trying
fans.
To do something good?
The AOC fans, the progressive, neo-progressive establishment, the people who are anti-forced to vote, the people who unironically follows Eon Higgins, like for example, like the people who unironically like think Ryan Grimm is doing good work when he attacked Savage Joy, who organized the Medicare for All march. Like, because I remember he attacked Savage Joy, who's blind, by the way. And then like the people was like, yeah, get her ass. Like, bro, you guys see how there's a class divide. There's a class divide. So my point is, imagine if one of our organizers had 12.7 million fucking followers like AOC has just on Twitter. God knows what she has on Instagram. God knows what she has on Facebook because I'm not on other social media, right? So look at the army.
Liberal bastions.
Look at the army that AOC has that she is not mobilizing for shit. Is she mobilizing that army for a general strike? Is she mobilizing that army to boost the Amazon workers? No. You know what she mobilizing those army supporters to do? To like her fucking diss track she made on Ted Cruz. Like my Instagram live I did the other day where I'm talking about, oh, y'all gonna show Ted Cruz. Like she always get into these Twitter battles with Republicans. And AOC fans love it. They're like, Slay Queen. You see her beef that she got into Republicans.
Well, she's building her liberal army. She's shedding her real leftists, and she's building her liberal army by picking those tribal fights online, right? That's why because who hates Ted Cruz more than liberals? Like who hates Marjorie Taylor Greene more than liberals? So that's what people like her, these actors, these people who are unserious, does stuff like that. People who are unserious do stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this because I'm gonna pull up the same screen, but I'm gonna show you guys something because this is my tweet. Because this is a symptom of a larger problem. Because I was one of the people that slow rolled into like hardcore criticism to these people. I never held back. But I remember when AOC abandoned us on Force to Vote, when she abandoned us for Marshall Medicare for All, people you said, why are you guys making a big deal over that? That was a symptom. That was a sign of things to come. Mm-hmm. And that is why I was warning people. I'm like, okay, why would you show up for the Medicare for All march? That is such a red flag. Like that shows how you're gonna. So that's my tweet. Where I said that's pretty much what that is. So this tweet went around because I called her out, and I'm gonna try to go through this real fast. But I see people were saying, "Oh my God, she had COVID. She had COVID as a reason why she has COVID." You tool. Glad the COVID positive AOC didn't want to infect a bunch of underpaid Amazon workers. She has COVID, shit dingus.
Oh
Delete.
My God!
Like you see, I'm showing you guys this. Like this guy, like she has COVID, you jackass. But nice job tweeting about the New York Post and amplifying conservative propaganda against our queen AOC.
I love the voice, Nick. I love the voice.
I guess catching COVID last minute automatically makes one a class traitor. Thanks for reminding everyone why we don't take you seriously. She has COVID, you stupid fuck. You guys, I am showing you guys this for a reason, right? Because we shared with you guys the article and we shared you guys the timeline. And I want to explain to you guys, why are these people, what is their inclination that makes them want to lie in favor of a politician? Right. That's why I find it interesting. Sense. Like none of these comments get to me. Like whenever I see this shit, I just find it very interesting. Like, what is that? Like, and then if you go on, there's even a few people that, I want to defend AOC because she had COVID. Okay. And my thing is, if you're going to defend a politician, bro, you better make sure you're a fucking right. You better make sure you're right. Because we actually covered this before. Because this was a few weeks ago. I wanted to show you guys this. And this is the reason why I'm getting into this. And Jordan for Status Quo does great work in terms as a journalist, straight up. I know the guy. He's a great guy. I met him when I was on the canvassing trail. Jordan does great work. And this is 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. I hope Jordan don't get mad. Sharon, I don't see why he would. But I'm going to just let this play just for a little bit. So we can expose these people that ran to the defense of AOC. You see that? I showed you guys that for a reason. And I want you guys to analyze why that is. Because I will never, ever understand that. So I'm going to play this video just a little bit. I'm going to play the part where they talk about AOC. And I want you guys to keep in mind, this is 2 weeks ago. Way before she got COVID. Before any of that stuff happens. So hold on, let me mute my mic so there's no echo. And then I'm going to play the clip. I'm going to try to jump around to the important part.
Okay. All righty.
Guys, I'll say this. Where the hell is AOC, Jamal Bowman, elected progressives? I mean, AOC went to Buffalo. She was on the ground there with the workers trying to unionize. Credit to them. They were just successful. forming the first ever Starbucks union in America. AOC was there for that. I mean, I'm not putting it all on her, but Jesus Christ, she's got however many millions of Twitter followers. Jamal Bowman, congressman here. Chuck Schumer is pretending to be progressive these days. I mean, I was supposed to cover a protest once where they were supposed to be here. They canceled last minute. I think it would help your efforts greatly if you could get politicians with massive platforms on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. I'm not really down with the pop culture, but they seem silent. And it also seems to, if they would speak up, more of a microscope would be put on what Amazon. For God's sake, arrested one of your workers who was organizing. They're not following COVID protocols. Why do you think that is, that they're pretty much, I mean, I don't even see tweets from them about this.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, me and Chris, we actually met AOC in DC, and she told us, you know, that she supports us 100% after we told her, you know, our story about how we've been organizing, trying to form a union. And she said that she would come out here, and last minute just backed out. It's been silent ever since. So I don't know what it's about, but, you know, just her name alone rings bells. You know, I've spoken to so many workers inside who know absolutely nothing about politics. But when I mention AOC's name, they know AOC. So that alone could change, you know, that could literally alter the perspective of.
And that's the point that we're making about her and Bernie Sanders, and quite frankly, that they have the power to do this if they are the people and the things that they're claiming that they really want to fight for and what everybody wants. That's what a fighter would do. But look at Nick, you just destroyed these liberal loving AOC stands here, Nick. Like Perry Mason.
And I know the what people might say, and I've seen people say this before. They're like, "Why, Nick? Why you focus on them?" I think it's an important case study because I want you guys to think about it. And that's what I said before. Why did they go to defense of AOC? Because when I called out AOC for abandoning the Amazon workers, you guys see their first response, and it was almost like it was coordinated. It was almost like it was a script. We had a ton of people who are the leftist best, the TYT orbit. Like these people who defend progressives and defend electoral politics, and the people who are loved with the strategy of taking over the Democratic Party, they immediately came out with this defense when this story came out. AOC, they said, "Oh my God, you guys are criticizing AOC because she got COVID. Of course, you didn't help the Amazon workers when she had COVID. Why would you defend a politician before you got the facts straight? Right. She just now got COVID because she went to Florida." She abandoned the
partying.
She went to Florida party. And the thing is, I want to be 100% clear. There are people who are attacking AOC for going to Florida. I am not one of those people. I am one of the people who, when I go after someone, I want to make sure my shit is rock solid. I don't attack people for childish shit because apparently AOC's grandma is in Florida, right? So why would people criticize AOC for going to Florida when she visiting her grandma? Like that, you know how the right wing, they always got the worst attacks. When I see people attack her on that, I don't think that's a good attack, to be honest with you guys. What I do think is a legitimate criticism is that she literally abandoned the workers, and now they are trying to use COVID as an excuse when, as I showed you, the Amazon workers were criticizing AOC weeks before even she went to Florida and got COVID.
Right.
So
that's what I was just about to say. That was before even she went to Florida.
Exactly. So once again, the question I want to ask you guys, and you guys can dialogue in the chat about this. What is it about people that makes them so reflective on defending politicians? These people, right. We don't owe them shit. There are people that think we owe them something. Like, we don't owe them shit. And my point that we have made on the show, especially if you follow the Nick and CJ show, is our criticism of these people is they are weak, ineffective leftist leaders. Now, let's actually, because I can analyze the story in multiple ways. Imagine if you had, and this is what Jordan talked about, this is what I mentioned earlier. If you had the platform, the email list that Bernie Sanders and AOC had, the amount of impact that you can put on the workers, the amount of money that you can raise. So my question to you guys is, why do she even have to be dragged to these events? if I was an elected official, these motherfuckers, like, there'd be a point where you got, all right, like, Nick, all right, leave us alone, motherfucker. We good. Like, I would be all up in your business. Like, there'd be a point where
in particular for Amazon, because if we are able to unionize more and more of Amazon, the company that's pretty much all of us going to be working for Amazon in like 20 years, the company that's taking over everything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's a big fish. So again, but this is the same thing I said. We did a video in the beginning when we first launched as FHL back then, and I said AOC and Bernie Sanders are two people who could get a general strike started. Not like, hey, just me, but they could talk to union members. Let's have a conference. Let's all meet here. Let's do this. They can get people involved, like the people that were going to vote for Bernie Sanders for president. Imagine all those people waiting, listening to how a general strike should go down. CJ. If you want those things, Bernie, why don't you want that to happen? If you want those things, AOC, why don't you want those things to happen? Is it gonna disrupt your life? Is that the problem? Disrupting your life?
God damn, that's such a good point, CJ. That's such a good point, because this is a point I made on one of our live streams maybe a week or so ago. Because we know Build Back Better agenda is dead, and we always knew that would be the end result. That's the funny thing. The funny thing is, we always knew it was never gonna pass because Joe Manchin and Chris Sinema, but Bernie and them pretended they had a chance. So you just present a scenario which will make them great leftist leaders. Like, imagine in a scenario, in an alternate timeline, where we have Bernie Sanders using his email list, AOC using her email list to organize for a general strike. And I still remember you had a great video a long time ago you made on your channel where you talk about how they can make a general strike. And I've seen the same sycophants, those sycophants that we just talked about. These people say, "Oh my God, CJ thinks that these people can make a general strike." These people think Bernie Sanders and AOC have so much power. They're so unreasonable. Do you guys see the hypocrisy in your statement? At one point, and at the same time, they want you to put all your faith in Bernie and AOC and progressive politicians. Mm-hmm. They are our saviors. We must invest into them. They sell you that. While at the same time, when we demand them to do more, they're like, "Oh my God, you expect too much." They sell them as unbelievably powerful, and we must support them because they are. And then when we call them out for their bullshit, all of a sudden they're powerless and helpful, and we are unrealistic. Do you guys see what they do?
Yeah, to me, that's a product of celebrity culture, and they don't even know that they're doing it. It means I'm gonna like this person regardless if they do good or not. Like, I'm liking this person because this person says all the right things. They tweet all the right things. So, I can screenshot stuff. I can quote tweet her comment, and then I can get a lot of likes. That's pretty much it, Nick. I mean, like, what else? What other value? Literally, think about this. What other value does AOC bring? Because what she is good at is her activism. This is what people point to when we criticize AOC. But she did this. She went over here and raised money for that. That's her activism part. That's not her as a legislator, right? So why doesn't she take her activism even further? I want to see the AOC that went out, that sat with those protesters outside of Pelosi's office. That's the AOC we need to have. But again, let's pretend just for a second, alternate universe. What I meant by AOC and Bernie Sanders being able to start a general strike, of course, is not literally they just say, "Hey, general strike starts next week." That's not what I'm talking about. That's people not being serious. You get what I'm saying? Like, when people have a flippant comment like that, just to be like, yeah, they just can't. They're not being serious. Because I don't know, any person with all their faculties, mental faculties, understands that's not literally what that means. Like, they can just say, snap their finger. But Bernie Sanders and AOC has access to all union members, their numbers, all of them. Hey, can I get all of you on a conference call? I want to talk about a general strike. See where your guys' heads are at. He could do that. AOC, hey, I created this website. I want to find out. Come sign a petition if you want to do a general strike. Just signing a petition, you can find out how many people want to do a general strike. What if it's 10 million people that sign it? Isn't that a sign that you should be doing something? Like, there's so many things that are steps, levels to getting to a general strike that they could catapult that into existence.
They run away from it too. So they will see. I remember how many during the George Floyd protest, during the protest last summer. Do you guys know general strike trended multiple times? So they have an opportunity where they could even tweet in support of it. They didn't even do that. So now I'm really gonna get into Bernie's ass because I think this is a good transition to
Good
this
segue.
point.
Good segue.
So, and I'm gonna preface this with this because this is relevant to what we had to say. I'm gonna preface the story with this. I want to admit, and I still struggle with this. I got friends that straight up like fuck Bernie Sanders, all this shit, and I want to admit I actually still have a soft spot for Bernie Sanders. I want to admit it. Guilty as charged. I still do have a soft spot for him. I don't think he's necessarily a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's had horrible strategy and he's more corruptible than people think he is. So even though I do have this soft spot for Bernie, that is not going to stop me from dragging this motherfucker. Straight up. Even if I think these people are good people, like if I met Bernie Sanders, I think he would be a great person.
Mm-hmm.
Right, great person to talk to, right? But I don't want to drag his ass because he is an ineffective leftist leader. And with that said, I'm willing to look at young Bernie Sanders. And I said as many times, young Bernie Sanders was a real one, as far as I'm concerned. And this shows the difference between AOC and Bernie. Because Bernie, I think in his younger activism career, was a very, very solid leftist.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. He showed an amazing amount of solidarity with the civil rights movement and black leftists at the time, to the point where he actually put his body on the line. When he ran like this socialist organization in the 70s, he often speak out in favor of socialist movements in the global South, which he never does anymore. He never does that anymore. He used to stand up for Cuba, Fidel Castro. And if you look at young Bernie was legit. And look, if I'm missing something, let me know. But I looked into this. Like, bro, young Bernie was a real one. And when I analyze Bernie Sanders, I see someone who got tired, man. Like, if I give you my honest,
he was worn down.
Like, this is a guy who fought. Like, he was an ally to workers. He was a anti-imperialist ally for the global South for a very long time. They used that to attack him when he ran. He lost a lot of elections. A lot of people don't realize Bernie lost like 3 or 4 elections before he won his mayor race, and he only won by like 10 votes. He used to get attacked all the time because they'd be like, "Oh my God, Bernie is a communist sympathizer." They used to smear Bernie Sanders as a tanky, guys. They used to smear like the same attack that we get. They like Bernie is a tanky. He defend them fucking global South socialists. He used to attack Ronald Reagan and the Democratic Party. That's when he used to say the Democratic Party was the enemy of the people. And he used to say back then that there is no route for workers within the Democratic Party.
Could you imagine if he was saying that now and AOC was saying that now? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? But I do think it is a product of being worn down. Being worn down. Now, that's not to say to let him off the hook for being, for reaching this point, but it's just a fact of what happened. Let me put this back on the screen. This super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Blade. I think that's how you say it. What is that? I can see it. Primo Radical just did a show talking to people who recruited her, and that lady had some shit to say about how these progressive do their thing. Thank you again for that super dad.
Yeah. So I tell you guys what I think straight up, honestly. So I am willing to give Bernie a lot of props for the state he put this movement in. He always been somewhat of a flawed person, but I legitimately believe when Bernie was young, he was a very, very solid leftist leader. So let me show you guys this. And I got a reason why I'm showing you guys this. You know, I always got reasons to get into this. Because we're going to get into Bernie ads pretty hard today. So this is, I tweeted this out a long time ago. And I'm like, I miss young Bernie. The fuck the Democratic Party, Bernie. I'm going to show you guys some old quotes if you guys forgot about my man
wow.
Bernie. Let me show you guys old quotes.
Wow, you're taking it back. You're taking it back, Nick.
They used to use this to attack Bernie Sanders. And so I told you, I think Bernie got fucking tired. I'm tired of being attacked. I want my family to go through life easy. I don't want to be politically blackballed anymore. I'm done. Which is something yet I criticize, and I think it's cowardly, to be honest. But look at what Bernie Sanders used to say. I know this may be hard for you guys to read on the stream, so I'm gonna read it for you guys before we get into the segment. We got plenty of time. So trust me, this is about to be a good segment. So this is what he said in the 1985. I am not now, nor have ever been a liberal Democrat. And this is what he said in 2014. I am not a Democrat. I despise Democrat in the 1990s. Listen to this one. Why should we work within the Democratic Party if we don't agree with anything the Democratic Party says?
That's the same.
1989. The Democratic and Republican Party are Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They both adhere to an ideology of greed and vulgarity. And look, 1990. It would be hypocritical of me to run as a Democrat because all the things I said about the party. I would say it would be hypocritical for you to endorse Joe Biden too, but hey, the Democratic Party is ideologically bankrupt. They have no ideology. Their ideology is opportunism. 1986. The Democratic and Republican parties are intellectually and morally bankrupt. 1989. And when Bernie was younger, he used to advocate for the same thing we are advocating now. The same thing that people who the progressives smear. We say there is no way you can organize within the Democratic Party. That was Bernie's political message, all as of 5 years ago. As of 2016, that was Bernie's entire political philosophy. So it's not us that changed. It was Bernie Sanders that changed. So I'm gonna wrap this part of this saying up. At least Bernie Sanders had a part where he was solid. It took AOC 2 years at that.
Yeah.
There are people who make the argument that she was corrupt beforehand, but if you're being nice to AOC, you say it took her 2 years. The worst case for Bernie, in my opinion, is that you can say he sold out after decades. But at least he was a motherfucker for decades.
At least 20 years. Yeah, at least 20 years he did. Hard time.
Yeah, so let me go to Bernie.
You got the article or you want me to put it up? I can put it up.
I actually lost it, but I can find it pretty quickly. So this is what Bernie said. I tweeted about it today. I'm just going through my tweet history. Here it is. Let me share this. This is what Bernie Sanders said, and I remember I had Misty, and Misty's gonna be back on the show on Saturday. Misty said something that rang true to me. She said Bernie is more of a shrewd politician than people give him credit for. And I remember that was something people used to say when they used to probably Bernie Sanders was, oh, Bernie Sanders, he's not like the other. He's not a politician. And then as I watched Bernie, especially throughout this last year, he is much more of a shrewd politician than people give him credit for. He does make calculations. He does say things based on what will help him politically. And he says things, he avoids saying things that will hurt him politically. So let's get into the story. Because I saw a lot of Bernie fans tweeting this out as if it was necessarily a great thing. And it is. And once again, when we present these stories, we cover our stories more comprehensively than other people. And I'll cover my stories in the way where it's never black and white. So there's some people who share this story and like, oh my God, this is amazing. Bernie Sanders actually stand up to the Democratic Party. That's not necessarily my take when I see this story. Bernie Sanders says Democrats are failing. The party has turned its back on the working class. So there are a few ways we can take this story. So I'm gonna start. Let's go to the substance part after I finish this point. So we're talking about Bernie. So this is not new information for Bernie Sanders. When he says, I show you guys those old tweets for a reason. So why is Bernie presenting this quote as if this is new information? You see how he said the party has turned its back on the working class? At no point and CJ, you can feel free to chime in at any time. At no point had Jim Crow Joe, Nancy Pelosi, and the Democratic swamp have ever been on the side of working class people, Bernie. So when you endorse Jim Crow Joe, the senator that was literally the senator of the Wall Street and credit card companies, you knew you was lying to your supporters. When you told people that we could shift Biden to the left, you knew you was lying to people. So there's some people who tweet the story out like, "Oh, Rob, I'm glad Bernie finally calling this out." I'm not doing that take. I told you guys, Bernie is actually a very true politician. When I see this shit, this is him covering his ass,
right?
As far as I'm concerned, because
there's a group of people, there's a certain segment of people that love Bernie Sanders, and any headline that's good, regardless of any real deep dive take on it, any headline makes them, it makes them happy. They want to put it out there. They want to, boast about it. And I think that's something as leftists, as a leftist movement, we're gonna deal with that forever. It's just some people some people have celebritized him, and there's no way of getting around it. And to them, they rationalize it. Well, he did this, and it doesn't matter because he woke me up. He woke you up. But if he woke you up and then proceeded to participate on the team that he was telling you about that woke you up, like, you got to take stock in that. You got to face you know what I mean? You got to face reality of the situation. So that's my take on it. He did some good things, and I would have the same take on this. Like, wait a minute, Bernie, you didn't know this when you told everybody to vote for him? Vote for them? Like, they gave up on the working class a long time ago. And I don't believe, I'm going to pass it back to you after this. Yeah. I don't believe Bernie Sanders believed that they were going to get $15 minimum wage. I don't believe he believed that. He knows these people, how entrenched they are. All the stuff we don't know, all the players in the background, the hundreds and thousands of lobbyists in the background with the millions and millions of dollars ready to line their pockets. And he knows that most of the people there don't have half of his integrity. You're trying to act like he didn't know any of that? Like, all of a sudden, all these lobbyists wasn't going to drop millions of dollars to make sure none of that happens? That Michael Bloomberg, what did he transfer over to them? Something like 36 million or something like that. $1 million to the Democratic Party, sealed the deal that there was never going to be no $15 minimum wage legislation. Like, come on, man. Come on. And this was the disappointment that I had, is that he knew all of this. And you're saying you're sheep herding people to that. He knew all of this. So it begins to beg the question, or to prove the point, Nick, and I'm going to pass it back to you, to prove the point that he is a shrewd politician. Because if he was a movement leader, just because the presidential election was over, he would have still led that movement. Because the movement didn't go away. I mean, the movement is dissipated now, but the movement only came about because of him. Go ahead, Nick.
This is not even a good interview by Bernie, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm literally skimming through this shit.
Yeah, and they like the headline, Nick. They didn't even read the article. The people, they just saw the headline.
Yeah, I read a little bit of it, but when I dive into it, now I'm analyzing it for the second time. Like, this is actually this is actually even more gaslighting for Bernie. Like, so the reason why I pulled this up again, because I saw some people ask for the article date. This is a new interview. Because Bernie said this before. Bernie said this shit before. So, and this is something that CJ mentioned earlier. Why did Bernie tell people that you're gonna get $15 minimum wage, that you're gonna get your student loan debt canceled? So there's an argument that people made for voting for Joe Biden that really didn't make me mad. There was the argument that would say, "Oh my God, I hate Trump, so we gotta get rid of Trump." I disagree, but to me, that's not an argument. Like, if you're scared of Trump, that's not something I would hold against you. What I am frustrated at is the people who was lied to and misled. The working class family that donated to someone $20 because they thought that they could possibly get $15 minimum wage under Joe Biden when we knew that was not possible. And Bernie said it was. Bernie said it was possible to put Biden to the left. So unlike some people, I am not mad that he just endorsed Biden. I am mad that he lied to people. I got a lot of anger about the progressive army that lied to people about what a Joe Biden administration would look like. The people wasn't like people who actually looked up to Bernie Sanders and AOC, they was not prepared. I was prepared. I knew shit was gonna get better. But imagine if you're one of the people that actually thought your student loan debt might get canceled, if you actually thought you was getting a wage increase. So
or you thought you were gonna get a $2,000 check in Georgia.
Snippets here. But go ahead, CJ. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, it's just another promise that that you thought you were gonna get that was broken. I was just pointing out the one in Georgia, but this is the hard critique we have to give Bernie. With all, and like I said, he I mean, I didn't say it this stream, but
that's why I appreciate everything.
Yeah, he woke my eyes up too. Like hearing somebody say things like he was saying it during those campaigns was different. So he woke up a lot of people. That awakening does not absolve him of what he is doing now, which is sheep herding people to the Democratic Party. We have to be able to have that intellectual capability to separate the two. So give him, hey, thanks, buddy, for waking me up, but let me go ahead and tell you what you're doing that's bad. Like, it's fine. Like, you can do that. Go ahead, Nick.
And this, like I said, I was trying to find some snippets. This is not even a good article because he's still kind of manufacturing consent for Democrats in a way. And I'm honestly like, we're gonna read some comments here soon. I want you guys. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys' thoughts on this analysis is.
Oh shoot!
Because listen to this here. Listen to this. Sanders repeatedly said that Democrats need to demonstrate vigorously and visibly that they are fighting to improve the lives of working class Americans. Why would you say this? You guys see? Once again, I'm asking you guys: am I being a nitpicker here? Because I'm seeing things in this article where Bernie is. Even though he's calling out the Democrats, he's still kind of doing PR for them. Because he's saying, oh, we got the message. We're trying to do good things. You guys got to stand up and fight. We just got to fight for our message. Bernie.
I think what would be better is if he was saying the Democrats aren't doing these things because, look, they got twice as much money for Big Pharma. Like, that would be better, in my opinion, if he's calling them out and saying why things aren't happening. They are in control of three branches of the government. They're in control of the legislative branch. They're they're like, come on, man. Not three branches. They're controlled of the Senate, House, in the White House. Like, the ball is in your court for the $15 minimum wage. The ball is in your court for single payer healthcare. Not even single payer healthcare. How about pandemic healthcare, Nick? Nick, we have a government that's trying to convince us this thing is deadly. This thing is deadly enough that we need to take a vaccination, but the same people won't say, hey, let's give these people emergency health care during a pandemic. Like, that to me is just that's jarring if you think about it. Just think if another country who has health care, they're like, how are they surviving over there without health care? They got to be thinking that during a pandemic. Like, what are people doing without health care? Oh, well, everybody get free tests. Really? Where do you get the free tests at? Because there's a bunch of people that can't get access to free tests who have insurance. What doctor? Oh, just consult your doctor. What doctor? I don't have a doctor. Person who doesn't have insurance. Like, I don't have a doctor. Who am I going to consult?
So check this out.
You get the point.
So check this out here. Now, this is I really don't like this part. I really don't like this part. He praised Biden for pushing for improved child care and extending the child tax credit. But he said it would also be good to show working people that you're willing to step up and take on the greed of the ruling class in America right now. Do you guys see the messaging flaw here? Biden Biden is the
the
ruling
same
class.
thing.
That
I
you
was
need
just
take
about to say that's
on.
the same thing. That's the same thing.
You
That's
see,
what I
like,
was just saying.
like Bernie does this thing where he criticizes Democrats while also providing cover. Like, and I'm
Right.
gonna read the comments.
He's
I
my
think,
friend. He does this all the time. He said this about Social Security, but he's my friend.
yeah.
That's what this is.
And I'm gonna read the comments, see if I'm too nitpick, but hopefully you guys see where I'm coming from here. Like, this is not how you should be attacking Biden. I'm gonna show you guys this. The senator also said, I think Democrats are going to have to clear the air and say to drug companies and say it loudly. We are talking about the needs of the working class. You see, why is Bernie even presenting the scenario where
Right.
Biden is not paid off by the drug companies?
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Like is he's pretending as if Joe and the Democrats aren't getting money from Big Pharma. Like, why are you pretending that's not the reason why they're not doing nothing? And that's the gaslighting, because he's pretending as if he doesn't know the reason why they're not doing
Yes.
that.
Like, it's up in the air. Like, who knows? Oh my God, Biden is not giving us a public option. Who knows why? It's not because he's corrupt. It's not because he took Big Pharma money during the primary that you went against him with. He flooded the airwaves with Big Pharma money. Surely that's not why. You guys know he undid the executive order that regulated drug prices. So he actually worse on drug prices than Trump was. So why, instead of Bernie Sanders say, oh, we need a Democrat Party, we need Joe Biden, we need to call out the drug companies, instead of saying that bullshit, why not say we need to call out Joe Biden and Democrat Party because they are corrupt and they are paid off by the drug companies? You guys see how he is misdirecting people's anger.
Right.
He is misdirecting the person who, the real enemy, I should say. Because he pretending he's separating the two. He's separating Biden and the ruling class that we had to fight when they were the same fucking thing.
Right. You're
go ahead.
You're helping along the misunderstanding of this duopoly. You're helping along the misunderstanding of the red-blue game. Like, you're perpetuating it by implying through your words that Joe Biden is not working for or isn't part of the ruling class that you're talking about. That's the problem. And that is where wherein it ties back to is connected back to where you're saying, like, partisans we don't need to go after, because if you have people who supposedly on your side still holding in place the Overton window and in this way, you get what I'm saying? Like, we have to go after people who are apolitical. There's plenty of them, 100 million people. They're apolitical. I'll put some more comments on, Nick, but I'll pass it back to you. Go ahead.
We gotta take this time to go some comments before we move on to the next story, because I think that's a good way to wrap up the Bernie segment. I want to share this because this is probably one of my favorite clips ever. I shared this before, but this is why I had Dr. Cornel West on, because you guys saw that comment where it said Bernie's an imperialist, and there's so many people who love Bernie Sanders who get so upset when we say this. But these same people, they got a lot of respect for Dr. Cornel West. You guys see how if you're a poor working class people and you criticize someone's favorite politician, they will get upset at you. But if you got a Harvard degree, all of a sudden it's legit. Yeah. That's the kind of classism that we challenge and we oppose on the channel. So I'm gonna share you guys what Dr. Cornel West said. And I want you guys to know Dr. Cornel West is probably one of the biggest influences on me in terms of politics, right? So I say stuff and I learned this shit from Dr. Cornel West. And then the same liberals who say they love Dr. Cornel West, they will say, oh my God, Nick, you're being unreasonable. So my thing, I want you guys to understand this. Why is it unreasonable for me when I say something? But then when you got someone with a Harvard degree, like Dr. Cornel West, or someone like Breonna Joy Gray, when they say it, it's acceptable. I want you guys to just keep that in mind. Why is that? Ask yourself that question. So I want you guys to hear what Cornel West. I know I played this before, but I think it's an important clip to share to people. So let me mute my mic and let's dive into it, and then we can move on to some more questions and super chats.
Then reinforces their progressive wing, but it's still a progressive wing that can be crushed any minute. We saw him crush Bernie twice. And Christopher Hedges and others, my dear brother Chris, he was telling me Brother West, you out there doing 112 events for Bernie the first time, 120 the next time. I love you to death, but I don't think you ought to be doing that kind of work because you got other energy can be done. Nothing. I said, well, at this moment, this might be the best way to educate people, get people exposed to new ways of looking at the world and so forth and so on. But more than likely, he will get crushed because the neoliberals will come together. Get a phone call from Obama, Biden, Pete, Amy, boom, they all come together to crush it. Because in November, looked like we had with Nevada, looked like we had a chance for a while. But even Bernie himself doesn't have a substantive critique of imperialism. No, not at all. He's got a critique of right-wing xenophobic leaders in Israel, Netanyahu, but that's a very, very low bar.
Yep.
God, if I can't criticize Netanyahu, then go on and join Trump's party. And the Israeli left has no strong left either. And so the Palestinians find themselves subject to this vicious treatment of domination and occupation and subordination and subjugation. And you say, hey, was Palestinian baby got the same value as a Jewish baby or black baby or white baby, what Brother James was talking about? Not one. Remember, the Democratic Party can say one word when 550 Palestinian babies are killed in 50 days. They can't say one word. That's sick. If that happened to Jewish babies, there ought to be voices, my voice, your voice, all of our voices would be heard for Jewish babies. Rightly so, because we care about Jewish babies. But when it's Palestinian babies, and it's just a few voices like ourselves, and no Democrats can say a word, then we know that's sick. Spiritually, morally, that is sick. Then,
yeah.
That is probably one of my favorite quotes. And if we was a bigger channel, especially then, I think we was at like maybe 8,000 subscribers at that time. That would have been a headline. You had Dr. Cornel West criticize Bernie on his stance on imperialism. I was trying to get it out, but we wasn't a big channel, so that won't make headlines, you know. But
we gotta clip it out though and put it up on Twitter at least, maybe tomorrow or the next day. Yeah, we got to clip that out and put that back up, re-put that back up. But
I'll pass back to you.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we're gonna segue. Actually, let me put up a couple of comments on this topic, and then we're gonna segue to the Michelle story.
Yeah, let's have.
Let me just. So thank you for this super chat here. I don't think we read this one yet. That's the problem, though. A lot of leftists cannot separate their hero worship of AOC and Bernie Sanders over what they actually doing. Plus MSM, mainstream media. Let's start calling them corporate media gaslighting. So that is absolutely a great point. You got to have the ability to separate your hero worship. And be able to critique even people that you like, even people that open your eyes. So this super chat also, you want to read that one, Nick?
Yeah, I also want to say that clip that I showed you guys of Dr. Cornel West, that's why I want to have him on the International Leftist Coalition Summit that we were planning. So I guess I take time to kind of announce that. We're looking at
absolutely.
We're looking at more. I'm gonna get to this comment. I'll get to this comment here soon, but I'm gonna take this time.
So take it off. Yeah, take it off.
We've just officially talked about it. So the international, I had people ask me about this. So the International Coalition Summit, you guys saw the Jones Strike Summit. We're aiming for some time around March, and we're gonna have a lot of voices because I really do believe you can't challenge capitalism. You're not gonna challenge the United States imperial core, NATO. Like once again, not just the United States, like the UK, and this is one example. The UK is complicit with the United States in helping extradite Julian Assange. So there is a coordinated effort among the allies of the United States to uphold U.S. neoliberal hegemony, right? So if you think we can beat that with a coalition from California to New York, the weak coalition that we already have is already weak. You are delusional. So the idea of putting together an international coalition of anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist mind. That's why we try to dodge leftists, but like you gotta be anti-imperialist, you gotta be anti-capitalist. This is a massive undertaking that never have this ever happened in human history? No. So we need to start. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I don't know what we gotta do to get started. So we might well start.
Nick, it could be that this is the genesis and we're we're part of the history of the genesis
I
of
would
the
love for that to be
revolution.
the case. I
You
would
get what
love
I'm
for that to be
saying? People need to understand that. I don't want you to think a revolution is going to be a couple of months and then everything's great,
That's a good
next
point, CJ.
year. Like
That's
that's
such a good
not how
point.
it's going to be. If the revolution started now, I mean, like where it's like really a revolution, you're looking at 10 years minimum, if not longer. These people aren't just gonna give up. You know what I'm saying? These people they got bombs and art, like they're not just gonna go, oh, okay, these people want fair stuff now. Let's just give it to them. That's not how it's gonna happen. That's not that you. There's thousands and 500 years of this sort of a white European rule or more.
That's such a good point, CJ. I'm glad you brought that up because it's because of people like AOC and Bernie, and because our propaganda through electoral politics that I actually felt I was a victim of this too. Not even that long ago. People are trained to see movements in the span of 2 years, CJ.
Yes.
Like 2020, how can you get elected? Like, what's your plan to get elected and putting policy in place? Like, that is not how you view revolution. Like, and not even just revolution. Like, look at the civil rights movement. Like, I remember I was under and this is how they taught us in public school. I was under the perception that the civil rights movement was like a 10-year struggle. The civil rights movement was a 100-year struggle at least. From the second they implemented the black codes, there was people resisting the black codes that immediately after the Civil War. So if there was a resistance immediately after the black codes and we didn't get the civil rights, and we still fighting it to this day, I will argue.
Right.
But just for simplicity, let's say that movement in that 1965, that's still a 100-year movement.
Right.
But people will have you believe that you get progress and change, and you should only view things in the lens of 2 years. When you can get elected? 4 years. Like, remember Forced to Vote? Remember March of Medicare for All? People used to say, well, we don't have people that can actually vote and get Medicare for All in place. Even though that was a lie, because I explained to you how Biden had the executive authority to do that. Despite the fact that was a lie, look at their mindset. Their mindset is we should fight for things because we can't get electorally done in 2 to 4 years. Do you guys know how deeply unserious that is? That's the ridiculous. Revolutionary lack of discipline that me and CJ talk about that has affected the left. And Bernie and AOC plays into this. They plays into the two. Like, this is
because they're keeping minds who would otherwise may learn this fact that we're trying to say. They're keeping them under that idea that there is this red blue game, that there is a difference between Democrats and Republicans, that there is a difference between Joe Biden and the ruling class, like all of these different levels of Overton window-like understanding of politics that if people just understood, just get this. If I could just say people understood that Republicans and Democrats were on the same team, do you understand how many different things that opens up? Just understanding that one thing, that they're on the same side. Like, don't talk about Medicare for all, conservatives, abortion, none of that. If everybody just understood Republicans and Democrats were on the same team, what would that open up as far as intellectually understanding on what to do, on movements, on how to improve our lives? If we just knew that, we will understand that the propaganda that comes out when they say this or that is just meant to divide us. Wait a minute, guys. You two are on the same team. You want us to be mad at each other. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so many different things on that. So here is another super chat, Nick, if you wanted to comment on what I said, or another comment, or this super chat here. This person has, is that Che?
Thank you, Bezos. I appreciate it. The squad and Bernie so over positive over Biden. Well done. They need 100% need to be called on that. Yeah, so they were saying well done. They need to be called on that. Okay. Pin that shit to them. World War II, those. Oh, yeah. So that's funny. Pin that shit on them. World War II, there are 8 posters. Whatever. Good. Thank you for super chat. But I'll tell you also, it's dumb politics. So I explained before how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are historically unpopular presidents and vice presidents. So it doesn't even make sense politically to tie your boat to them. Like, wouldn't you want the American people to see you trailblazing against the unpopular Joe Biden, Kamala Harris?
Exactly.
And we explained before, AOC numbers is just as bad as Nancy Pelosi's in terms of approval rating. That's because people see her as an agent of the unpopular Joe Biden administration.
Like, think about that, Nick. AOC, the person who advocates for all the great things, she's underwater as far as her approval rating.
Imagine being
How is that?
How can you be that bad? Like, one thing I tell you, these are ineffective leaders, bro. Like, they may be great people. Like, I remember that preface I did on Bernie like 40 minutes ago. I told you guys I still have a soft spot for him, despite everything I just said. But even though I have a soft spot for Bernie, don't mean I won't drag his ass.
These critiques are all political. These critiques are all political. So no one, even the people that like them, should pretend like they know AOC. You don't know her personally. This is all critiques about the political person. This is not anything personal. I think I would have a good time laughing with Bernie Sanders. I think we would have great conversations.
Remember, Finney said she talked to AOC and Cori Bush. And I'm about to talk to you, but when you talk to these people, they good to conversate with. But then they'll turn around and bullshit you and backstab you. Like, I still think about my conversation with Toasty a long time ago in South Carolina. I did a video on my Socials MMA channel if you guys want to check that out. Like, and you guys know how radical my politics are. I was talking about like burning the empire down, anti-capitalist shit. And Toasty was like not along. And now she's a neocon. Like, you guys see these people have no shame. No shame. No leader, no gods. But go ahead, CJ. Let's get some more comments.
This super chat here: the U.S. left was destroyed a long time ago and replaced with a fake left. The real left is only now reconstituting itself. I hope that's what we're a part of. Thank you for the super chat. I hope that's what we're a part of, Nick, which is reconstituting the real left. And I think just talking about the international, so just the reason why you keep hearing us say the name slightly different, because we haven't settled on the name. So we're thinking International Leftist Coalition, International Leftist Summit, then the International Coalition Summit, and then the International Solidarity Summit. So it's a bunch of different names. I like that one too. So it's a bunch of different names, but this is what we're talking about. This is the reason why I feel like this upcoming summit is going to be something that's very, very important. I know we're going to try to keep it as a shorter amount of time. I didn't want to tell you this during the meeting, Nick, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really do believe once we start to build who we want on there, I don't see it. I don't see it fitting in 2 days.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be the same as before.
I remember when we first announced the Jones Strike Summit, when we said it was going to be a 3-day, 12-hour event, I was like, holy shit, how are we going to fill that much content? Yeah. But then it went from that, then literally the week before the Jones Strike Summit, I felt bad because I had to exclude good people. Yeah. I had people like, damn, man, I would love to have you on the panel.
Right.
But I have no time left
on like we had a panel where I think Sabrina had a panel where she had like 10, like we maxed out. Like we couldn't even put more on the screen. So
I have so many ideas for people to have on this goddamn summit, guys. Like Dr. Cornel West doing a Palestine panel. Mm-hmm. Like that's gonna be amazing.
Fire.
I would love to have like all the gray zone people, like have all the anti-imperialists come together. Mm-hmm. But most importantly,
Black Agenda Report. Agenda Report I want to include too,
Yeah, Black Agenda Report as well. We're definitely gonna have Danny Highfong. I just had him on my Saturday show. I would want Margaret Kimberly definitely. We need Lee Camp. We need all the people that have been calling out. Chris Hedges. I've been reaching out for him for a while. He's hard to get. But Chris Hedges for sure. Hopefully, once this get out, I need you guys. I really need you guys to help us spread the word on it.
Yeah,
you guys did amazing. You guys helped us out so much on the Jones Strike Summit because also the haters helped too. like when people saw Jimmy Dore, and we did it on purpose. Like we put the Jimmy Dore flyer out. We like, bro, watch. And then
they think that wasn't strategic. Like it was a reason we strategically placed that one first. Yeah.
And then Hassan made his diss track, Voss made his diss track, and I'm like, thanks for the advertising, guys.
Right.
So hopefully that happens again. Like hopefully they see someone they don't like on our panel and then they make a shit storm about it, because you guys see the YouTube have been fucking with our channel, guys, and the thing is I'm not even that stressed about it, to be honest, because I know you guys got our back. I know you guys that help share. Like you guys got our back on Patreon and Ko-fi. Like they demonetize all our fucking videos. See, I don't know if you know this, CJ. All our videos get demonetized because we say something at one point.
We say stuff they don't like.
Our live streams are 2 hours. Our live streams
Right.
are 2 hours. We're gonna say something in a 2 hour live stream that's gonna get demonetized. So,
Right.
and I remember I told you guys that a long time ago, like, bro, YouTube monetization not really shit. I realized that on my page. So, but we know our homies got our back on Patreon. We know y'all got our back when it comes to sharing the International Leftist Coalition, our international solidarity. So I like that. That right now, that's probably my favorite.
I like the solidarity one too. But let me say this while you're talking about that. If you know you subscribe to us on YouTube, please go check. Several people have said we've been unfollowed, and if you've noticed since the General Strike Summit, Nick, like just things aren't the same. Like our subscribers are not going up as quickly as they were before, and we think it has something to do with the General Strike Summit. So make sure you're subscribed to us. If you're not, get other people to subscribe to us. I kind of want to do like a RBN to 15,000 like push maybe next week or in 2 weeks or something like that. Did we read this comment already?
Oh yeah, yes, I didn't comment, but we talk about the leftist divide all the time. That's pretty much that comment in a nutshell. There is a class divide. Like the people who like cheer on like these bourgeoisie streamers who make $200,000 a month, and they go after fucking anti-imperialist black leftists and they cheer that on. They love it when they see Hassan go after our General Strike Summit. When they see Hassan, he went after the America for All March. They love seeing the rich kid just stomp and humble the working class leftists. And the thing is, they will never break it down that way. But that is what it is. Like, I've seen them like, oh, get that motherfucker. That's
terrible.
Like that's terrible. And if you think these people are our allies, like there's a lot of people who mourn this idea. Like, oh my God, this movement. I'm not even sad. Like, bro, like I'm glad they was exposed. I'm glad this division was exposed because we had to expose it now, or we will go through this false peace. We will go through this weak ass revolution, and then they will betray us later. So it's better we just weed the people off. It's
better that we find out now.
Yeah,
and quite honest, Nick, I didn't even know these people are leftist people. I mean, I didn't know that. Yeah, like I've never seen a video of his. Does he do political videos?
Bro, people consider like the mainstream, and this is a good segue to this statement because I actually had a segment prepared on this topic. The mainstream is so confused by the concept of political ideology, economics. Like, not only are we a deeply propagandized country, we are a deeply anti-intellectual society. So I'm quickly preparing this. But Hassan, like, he's mainstream. Like, most people know who he is. Like, even pundits cover him. He get people write articles about him. When he is discussed in the mainstream, he is considered the leftier than thou. Like, he is the standard bearer for the Overton window. Like when people talk about Hassan, they're like, he is the socialist, far left streamer that represents, and Vultures too. Like they had a big debate between him and Charlie Kirk, right? They was like, oh my God, the socialist Vultures debating Charlie Kirk, the right winger. I'm like, bro, this is two fucking shit libs. They're two shit libs. But this is how they market themselves, right? And we know if you watch our channel, if you have revolutionary discipline, if you see how Hassan is class loyal, defend politicians, and constantly go after worker movements, the idea that he's the lefter than thou option is beyond absurd. Beyond absurd. But, and this is why I went to segue. I segued to the segment because I had this segment prepared. This is more of a fun segment because we want to talk about deeply unserious people. Remember, this is a show where we talk about, we had deeply serious conversations about deeply unserious people, right? So look at this. I saw this on Twitter flowing around, and this is something else. This is how many followers this guy have. I don't know who this guy has 71,000 followers. A lot of people like this dude. This tweet had a lot of likes on it. This guy said CNN and MSNBC are completely irrelevant now. See, once again, there are good things in this tweet, and then there's some. What the fuck are you talking about? You see how people are confused? There's so much confusion in this country. Mm-hmm. So this part, everything is good up to here. Because I agree to everything right here. And then it goes off the rails. The only people watching are far left radical Democrats anyone even remotely independent is tuning to long-form interviews on podcasts like Joe Rogan. The tide is turning. The far left Democrats, and you guys obviously see my reply here. I was so close to ratio on this motherfucker. I said, and I'm gonna get your take on this, CJ. Joe Biden is literally deporting more people than Trump. He's funding the police more than Trump. He funded the military more than Trump. He's giving Israel more money than Trump. And I could have went more, but we got Twitter limits. I could have literally kept going. So I cut it off there because I was running out of characters. The people who pretend Democrats are far left, they are deeply, deeply unserious people. Deeply unserious people.
But this is part of the reason why the left in the US is so weak, because the people who are considered the leaders or the speakers, the spokespeople for the left aren't leftists, and they aren't in the struggle. You can't be a millionaire. You can't be a millionaire and be the leader of this movement. Like the people who are going, but this is a broader critique I have on the leftist movement, and you can see it in leftist media, because leftist media mirrors. I'm sorry, I should say it this other way. Maybe it's the other way around. The leftist movement mirrors leftist media. And what is leftist media? Leftist media is white. Leftist media is white. And if for leftists to believe, I'm kind of going on a tangent here, for leftists to believe that our white leftist media has the capacity to even speak about issues dealing with people of color. I was going to use some bad words, but don't be ridiculous. And this is almost like we being led by people who don't know how to lead. That's how I feel. And you can't lead Black people, for example, if you don't have a struggle or you don't have a struggle in the police state. You can't really lead Black people if you don't have that sort of grounding in that, where Black people can say that person gets it. If you don't, if you're, you know what I mean? Like, all these leftist media are all rich, not doing any sort of movement things. Name one that's doing activism. Name one that's doing mutual aid. Do you think this podcast group, you think it's special that we do more than just talk? We have activism, we do activist things, we do on summits, and we do mutual aid. Do you think it's a coincidence that we happen to be people of color and this is the way we do our podcast versus other leftists who are white and their podcast does not involve activism?
That's such a good point. That's such a good point.
This is part of the reason why they don't want us at the table, right? Because if you're saying, hey, follow what I'm saying, I'm the best leftist, let me tell you all the theories and how to break it down. But then you got another leftist group that's saying all of that, but they're also doing mutual aid. They're also feeding the poor. Guess what that other one looks like now? Like, you do good, buddy. You're great, but I'm going over here. Now, I know I went on a tangent. I don't know what point I made,
great.
but
you
get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
Great. God damn, there's so much to break down in what you said.
Yeah.
That was perfect. Like, I couldn't sum it up better. Like, yeah, and I explained this before. Me and Sabby did a live stream a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Like, I seen Sabby in the chat. Shout out to Sabby. Like, we did a live stream a long time ago about what it means to be a Black leftist content creator. Think about it, guys. And I like some people I'm about to name. Like, think about the most popular YouTube hosts right now. Like, think of the most popular YouTube hosts. Like, you have TYT, which include Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur. You have Sam Cedar. You have Emma Vigeland. You have Boss, that we explained earlier. Hassan is one of the biggest streamers in the world, period. David Pakman. Like, all of these people are white. Like that, and that's why we got into the game. Like, there's only one perspective. Like, I saw like this massive weakness in progressive media on state violence. I've seen massive weakness on progressive media when it comes to black issues like reparations. David Doe, another example. David Doe, the Humanist Report guy, Mike Figueredo, Kyle Kalinske, like, and once again, that I am not saying it's bad to be white and commentate. I don't give a fuck about that. But what does it say about our leftist movement that are the biggest people? They are white, they are boogie as fuck, they all make hella money, and then they tell people to vote Democrats every 2 years. And then these same people like attack activists because we're not fucking perfect, as if there was ever a perfect movement. Like, that's CIA shit.
Man, just think about it. You complain about diversity in corporate media.
Yeah, like,
where's the diversity here? Where is the diversity?
Like, Sabby drives these people all the time. Like, Sabby, and there's another comment, like, defund the police. Like, we made a lot of ground on defund the police despite the bullshit they was pulling. Like, so many of these white progressive commentators, like Crystal Ball, for example, like, they would go on their show, they're like, defund the police. I don't like the slogan. Like, they kept saying it. Like, they kept saying this bullshit. And if you check out Sabby channel, I had a debate with Garland Nixon on defund the police, and I completely obliterated all those talking points. Like, these same people will say, "Oh my God, defund the police is a bad slogan," and then they were like, "Oh my God, Build Back Better is great. Yes We Can is great." Like, you don't understand. I even think cancel student loan debt is a good slogan, but even they can hijack that shit. They can hijack cancel student loan debt
because they can say cancel a certain amount.
Yeah, they can say, "Yo, we support cancel student loan debt up to $50,000." But defund the police is such a great slogan, they can't even hijack it. Because think about it. How can you hijack defund the police? I believe we should defund the police by 10%. Okay, I'm down for that.
But defund the police. I'm glad you bring up that. Defund the police is a perfect example of why we need black voices. Imagine if there were no black voices, if our voice wasn't there and a few other black voices wasn't there on defund the police, and all we had were all our white comrades. Now, it's not a critique. I think I've heard you say this before. It's not a critique on them. Like, they're leftists. They're out there doing their thing. We're just making the point that, our leftist media structure it's pretty white. It's pretty male also. That's another thing. It's pretty white. It's pretty male. So how many perspectives do you think you're going to get from that? How do you think black people's issues are going to be represented? That's a better question. Think about that, Nick. You have all these white commentators now. Do you think they're as well learned on issues of the black community? So how can they speak to it? How would they be able to articulate it from a leftist point of view?
And the reason why I'm able to make these critiques, because I watched a ton of independent media, because when I used to sell cars, we had a lot of downtime. I used to be a warehouse worker, and then I used to listen to a lot of shows. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts and shows, and I used to listen to a lot. Even if I'll listen to a show even if I disagree with it, just so I can get another perspective. And that kind of helped me grow. And I swear to God, I will never understand why these shows are popular. Because if you watch David Doe, if you watch Humanist Report, if you watch Secular Talk, if you watch TYT, you're getting the same goddamn coverage. Like, you're not getting, like, if you watch the spectrum of guests that we have on our show, like, I'm gonna have Pasta on this Saturday. I'm gonna have Misty on. I just had Danny Haifong, had Dr. Kareem Batesh. Like, you guys still haven't subscribed to his goddamn YouTube channel. I know. I'm watching you. Like, you understand that Dr. Kareem Batesh on BetBeat Media, there's an entire fucking hour seminar talking about complex issues that no one touches. Like, who does content like that? But if you look at our community, like, there's a completely broad like things we cover. Like, I'm talking to one of the reasons why I want to have Pasta on, because he was in Nicaragua, he was in Honduras covering the election and debunking U.S. talking points. How many of the people in the breadtube sphere, the TYT sphere, how many of them traveled to Honduras?
Exactly.
How many of them traveled to Nick? No, like Jimmy said, these people stay in their air-conditioned studios and punch down.
And they have the money. TYT has the money to do that. They have the money, the millions that they got donated. They have the money to go do that.
Bro, TYT has the money to organize General Strike Summits in person with union leaders. Like,
yes.
We organized the General Strike Summit in our fucking basement. Like, I always joke. Like, if I pointed my camera around, you guys would see that I'm literally recording my dining room. I don't have a studio. Like we have no resources.
Right.
They are funded by the Krakenberg like millionaires, right? They got like a $40 million check. Like they're funded by the fucking DNC and many of their bourgeoisie donors, but they can't even organize a mutual aid fund. Like they can't even organize fucking Jones Strike Summit. They don't even go to other countries and debunk CIA talking points. In fact, they will repeat them. But go ahead, CJ.
No, but I think what you're pointing out is what I was saying about having the issue with having primarily, only white leftist media structure. Like, just think about that. Like, what if you were to, like, your audience, TYT's audience, what if they started to have that expectation that, hey, why aren't you at TY2 doing what RBN is doing? Why aren't you doing mutual aid? Why aren't you, you know what I mean? Why aren't you doing these things? Because it's like just think about this, Nick. The leftist media structure is not even about activism. They're not even preaching like, to me, that's a major part of being a leftist is preaching activism. They don't even preach activism. They don't even say, hey, find out your local mutual aid. They don't do any of that.
Hey,
CJ, of it. Go ahead.
Look at their videos. They do Trump diss tracks to this day. Like, I tell you, I'm a political nerd, so guys, I look just out of curiosity sometimes. If you go to these people's channel, they are still doing Trump videos.
I do it too. Like the Humanist Report, he'll have one decent take in there in the week.
Yeah, they'll cover one thing to cover their ass. Like,
and then the other ones will be just the red and blue game, the Marjorie Taylor stuff. It's like, wow, what happened to you guys?
Like, the title will be like, you won't believe what Trump said here. And then it'll be like a photo of Trump, and then they get tens of thousands of views because shit love that shit. Like, we could take the easy way out, but I think you guys, I'd rather grow a community where we actually talk about serious shit. Other than, like, they just MSNBC light.
No, but I'm just saying, but this speaks to this was the point I was going to make. This speaks to why the left is so weak, right? But look at who are people looking to hear leftist talk, to hear leftist point of view, to hear leftist speak, and look at what those people are telling them. Just think about that. Why would our leftist movement be strong with those people leading it? Nobody's struggling. Why are they going to go to a Medicare for All march? They have health care. Why are they going to plan that? They have it. They can only pontificate about leftist policy. You get what I'm saying? They can only, because they can only say, yeah, everybody needs Medicare for all. They can't even speak to themselves because they have it. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Go
ahead.
They
don't talk to workers. Like, these same people put the red-brown alliance bullshit. The whole thing, because people say, oh my God, Social MMA Nick is pushing red-brown alliance conspiracy theories. And I'm going to tell you guys where that originated from. That originated from because I had a viral tweet where I said, bro, I'm willing to work with anyone. I don't give a fuck if you're politically incorrect on a few things when it comes to healthcare. Because my mindset is, if you're willing to help my community have healthcare when we are victims of the capitalist class and their racist healthcare system, you are showing solidarity with my community. But these people were like, oh my God, you want to work with racists and fascists? Red-brown alliance. This is the kind of shit, because they don't talk to workers. Meanwhile, CJ, on a serious channel that actually held a General Strike Summit, that actually talked to a union organizer, me and Rome had the K-Law UN strike leader. And he said, we need to build a coalition of people it don't matter if you are conservative, if you're a leftist, no matter what your political pins are. If you're for pro-workers policies, we need a forum coalition. So this is a worker that says that. If you talk to real workers, this is the belief that most people have. Like, some people get caught up in culture war shit, but people want to unite to fight the oligarchy. But people on the progressive left, they want to divide that. That's why they attack us as Red-Brown Alliance. That's why they attack the General Strike Summit, because they don't want to see that worker solidarity. They want to keep the division because they profit from the division. So when you make a video talking shit about Dave Rubin, we make a video constantly talking shit about Trump, you get those views because you're programming your viewers to be like, all right, the other is irredeemable. Even if they support healthcare, they're still irredeemable. That sells, that get them clicks. That's the divisive politics that they love. And that's why we call them out, because the state of the left is weak right now because of their anti-solidarity bullshit. So despite the fact that they have massive resources, they went out and criticized the General Strike Summit and lied about it. We went over all the lies they told multiple times. They lied and said, oh my God, you guys don't have union organizers. You guys don't have enough professionals. All that stuff were proven to be lies, right? But let's take a scenario where that is true. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Why is their first instinct to bash the black leftists that have no resources instead of offering a helping hand? So let's say their scenario was true where we was like fucking this shit up, right? Why wouldn't they be like, oh, yo, you don't got no union leaders? Let me hook you up. I got some contacts. Let me help you. Let's build on the General Strike Summit because this is a good idea. You guys notice that they didn't do that? Ask yourself why. Like I told you, my mind worked differently than other people. This is the kind of shit I think about when I see people going after the General Strike Summit. I'm like, you guys didn't offer to help. You immediately start smearing and lying.
That was one of my points. It's like this is one of my points. It's like, who attacks somebody helping, even if you don't agree enough to where you're gonna go help? Who says let me attack you? That's what's weird to me. Like, I'm driving on the freeway and I see somebody on the road changing somebody's tire in a dangerous spot. You shouldn't be there. Am I gonna go by there and blow the horn and yell stuff at them? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you just go, I'm not gonna participate in it. That was a bad idea. Keep it to yourself and move on. What's the point in attacking? I think you're telling on yourself that you aren't doing anything. You're playing video games over there, and you aren't really doing any planning for this. So you're telling on yourself. So you have to attack something that you know you're not going to participate in because you got video games to play, right? So you have, I'm serious. Like, you have, because that's his way of income. Like that's your way of income. That's why you're playing video games.
I'll pass it right to you, but people kept asking me why I kept highlighting these attacks, and as you said it perfectly. They telling on themselves. Mm-hmm. So people kept asking me why I kept highlighting, why I keep talking about the attacks Hassan and them did on our channel. The reason I bring it up because there could not have been a better advertisement for what we have been talking about. When they came after us, I'm like, you guys could not have proven us more correct. Because I went on the Jimmy Dore show. I went on multiple shows and I said there's a class divide on the left. There are people who are willing to work against any left movement. And then they came out and proved us right. So I'm like, bro, hell yeah, I'm gonna amplify this. I'm gonna tell everyone that the most popular Twitch streamer in the world came out against my summit. And the most important takeaway from this is why they did it. We'll just go back to the conversation we had just not too long ago. They did it because we are a group of black leftists with no resources who holding a General Strike Summit, having union leaders, having organizers and educators. So then people will start asking, why are you and all your infinite resources not doing this?
Right.
So you guys gotta understand the psychology. They have to attack us so they can delegitimize the idea. So people don't start asking them questions.
Right.
Do you guys see how transparent they are to me?
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. You have, it's like hedging their bet. They're hedging. They have to, hey, if this take off, they're gonna start wondering why the hell I didn't do this with all the resources that I have. That is a great point. I want to throw this up there really quick.
And we can and also CJ, we can say after this we can segment to another story. We may go a little bit long, but I want to do the Eric Adams story too. But after we do this one,
I was segueing right now because I saw the time. I was changing. So this one here, Michelle Obama gears up for Fear 2024. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, this article here, CNN, former, sorry, let me make sure that's on the screen. Former First Lady Michelle Obama has a message for Americans ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. We've got to vote like the future of our democracy depends on it. That's what she decides to come out for, not for people getting evicted.
There it is.
Right? She comes out for this. She comes out from her $1 million estate, her $1 billion estate, or whatever the hell they are, right? She comes out and says, you peasants need to come out here and vote she's not saying it is, like the future of democracy depends on it and for the midterm election. So my immediate response, Nick, and I'll pass it to you after this. My immediate response after this was, if you want, I know this came out, I tweeted it up. So Michelle, if you want to save our democracy, start with getting money out of politics. Also, your hubby sold democracy out to Wall Street. Remember, entire cabinet picked by banks. I was just trying to illustrate here, Nick, just it's almost laughable ridiculousness, or it is laughable ridiculousness. The stuff that they say, vote like the future of our democracy depends on it, when our democracy is completely captured by corporations. That's not a problem with democracy to them. That's not a grave danger of democracy to them. But Trump being reelected, that's a danger to our democracy. It's just it's absurd to me. Did you have a take on this?
It's a clown show, man. It's a clown.
Absolutely a clown show.
Now they telling you once again, this is the most important election of our lifetime, and this is going to be a very interesting year. And there's a reason why they go after our channel, guys, because this is the election year, and there are a lot of people who they now discovered their balls because Biden is now unpopular. So now they try and like, oh, I'm gonna criticize Biden because I got to at least get some sort of progressive clout, right? But a lot of these people, once we start getting closer to the summertime, a lot of these people are gonna start with the messaging. Oh no, Joe Biden has been disappointing. I know we didn't get everything we wanted, but the reason why we didn't get everything we wanted is because we didn't have enough Democrats. That is what they've been. That is what they've been saying.
Or what progressive like to say, we didn't have enough progressive Democrats.
I've seen people say, yeah, we had Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema tank our agenda, but that means we just got to vote harder, so their vote doesn't matter anymore. Like, bro, the way I don't know how people not tired of it. I seen this pattern 10 years ago, and now, and as a way I can add to the story, I can share you guys my anecdotal, right? So the last time I voted for a lesser two evils, and I put in chat, I guess we leave this question to you guys. Or I can ask you guys what your path was. The last time I ever voted for a Democrat, last time I ever voted for a lesser two evils was 2012. They scared me. They got me with Mitt Romney because it was after the George Bush administration, and then Mitt Romney came, and I'm like, man, it probably another George Bush administration. I didn't know that Barack Obama was just like George Bush, but then once like Barack Obama won that election, and I voted for him, and I saw him double down on imperialism. I saw him double down because I was tricked. I still remember. This was 10 years ago. This is 2012 now. They told me that the reason why we didn't get public option, the reason why we didn't get all these progressive stuff was because we had Joe Lieberman. We had Heidi Heitkamp.
I forgot about
we
him.
We had all these. So my mindset was, okay, if I just vote a little bit harder for them, maybe we give Barack Obama more numbers. Maybe we give him the political will. He will be better. But then he actually doubled down. He actually that's why Black Lives Matter started under Barack Obama. He made George tax cuts permanent. I can go on and on. But after that, it only took me one patrol. Like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. Like, I see how this shit is. In 2016, I voted green ever since. I voted third party ever since. Because I've seen what they do. They take power. They underperform on purpose, even though they can do any. They can. We explained to you how you can have healthcare for all right now. That had nothing to do with Joe Manchin. Had nothing to do with Kristen Sinema. But they use that. They use that as an excuse, right? And why I'm blanking on the term. You know what I'm talking about, CJ? The fucking
rotating villain. Yeah,
I don't know why I'm blanking. But yeah, they use the rotating villain every 2 years. Once again, I fell for this before, and then they were like, "Oh, if you vote hard for us, we'll try next time." And then they lose because they underperform. And then, "Oh, if you vote harder for us, we win." They get a majority. They don't do it again. Then the Republicans win because they disappoint, and then the Republicans crazy. Then people get Trump derangement syndrome. Then they forget that the Democrats disappointed them the first time. They're like, oh, this time's gonna be different. And then they vote for the Democrat. Then the Democrat like, oh, we're gonna do all these things. Then they don't do the thing. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, I can't believe they're not doing the thing. And then the Republican win again because people are disappointed. And then they say, oh my God, we gotta beat the Republican. You guys see the pattern?
Vicious cycle. Cycle.
I saw this from day one. Like, I'm like, okay, we went from Reagan, Bill Clinton, then we did George Bush, and then Barack Obama. I've seen the same thing every 2 years, and I still see people fall for it. I'm 30. I'm 30. Like, it took me. I fell for a lot of stupid bullshit in my life, but at 30 years old, I think I see through this shit. And to me, there's nothing sadder when I see someone in their 50s, in their 60s, the people who've been
still believing in this stuff.
You've been a grown-ass person for decades, and you still fall for this shit. You still fall for political theater. You still think Donald Trump believes one of the best. Yeah. You think Donald Trump actually gives a fuck about you. You think Joe Biden actually gives a fuck about you. You're a grown-ass man. You guys, this shit is weird.
That is so silly. That's so silly. That's so silly. But let me read this super chat. If Americans wanted to safeguard their democracy, then they should eject Jim or GOP out of our politics entirely. Absolutely agree. But when the people who are the most corrupt, the Democrats and Republican, are the ones running the elections and rig them, we don't. I'm gonna go on a tangent about voting, but let me make sure you squeeze in that last topic you wanted to get in there, Nick.
Yeah.
Any last comments on? So basically, Michelle Obama is gearing up for some more vote shaming and some more. I put 2024, but 2022 also some more vote shaming and some more fear mongering. That's on its way. Be prepared. What do you got coming up next?
I want to share this great tweet from Ryan to wrap up this segment. This is why I retweeted earlier. Can't say enough good things about Ryan Knight. Great guy.
Yes.
Democrats, when they're campaigning, this is the most important election in history. Vote blue or democracy dies. And Democrats, when they're in power, expand fossil fuels, oppose Medicare for all, increase the military budget, they sort of ruin class, and betray the working class. And I had a tweet where I was kind of digging to Noam Chomsky, because Noam Chomsky is one of those props they use where I still remember when he was telling people to vote for Joe Biden because of the climate crisis. And and Joe Biden expanded fracking, expanded offshore drilling, expanded the military, which is the largest polluter in human history. They had an infrastructure package that was way lower than Biden's original campaign promise. Like, he has been awful on climate. Like, he has been worse than Trump. And when I say worse than Trump, the only reason I say that is because, he expanded what Trump did. So if you expand what Trump did, you are by definition worse. The same way that Donald Trump is by definition worse than Barack Obama. Barack Obama is by definition George Bush. But don't get it twisted. They serve the same. They serve the same like role.
And that's the point that
too evil. But go ahead, CJ.
No, but that's the point that we're all making, and I love to use this. It's not an analogy. I guess it is an example, and that is, if let's use what's an industry? The insurance industry, medical insurance industry. Let's say United Healthcare. If United Healthcare donates to Republicans and donates to Democrats, do you believe that United Healthcare's plan to grow their wealth, do you think it's different if it's a Republican in office, or a Democrat in office? Like, do you think that corporation's idea on how to make more money changes depending on if it's red or if it's blue? The answer is no. And therein lies why we say this is one party. Because the owner, the person who's given the direction, is the same person, the same company, the same corporation, the same oligarch, the same ruling class. So if this red team and this blue team has the same owners, like, how are you really electing somebody different? This is why we say neoliberalism is always in the White House. That has won every election, every single election, whether it's Democrats or Republicans. It doesn't matter. But ask yourself that. If you're a Democrat, ask yourself that. If a Republican is there, United Healthcare's plan is the same. if your Democrat is in office, United Healthcare's plan is the same. So how is it any different? Nick.
So this is a good way of saving this, and this is the second time we did this show where we went way over 2 hours. But I think people enjoy the content. So I got one more story. So we may go long again today because I want to make sure I cover this comprehensively. So I apologize, CJ. We're going over, but this is something that I want to cover. We're gonna talk about Eric Adams, and we're gonna talk about the two-party duopoly as well. So when I talk about the concept, and you guys already know I like to preface my stories. When people pretend that Democrats are our allies, that confuses me to no end. When people pretend that a Democratic Party, they're the lesser of two evils than the Republican Party, that doesn't make sense. That, like, think about it. Who are the Democratic Party? The Democratic Party is just a collection of people, right? So think about the leaders of the Democratic Party. Think about Eric Adams, who we're going to talk about now. Andrew Cuomo, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Hakeem Jeffries, Jim Clyburn, Chuck Schumer, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, Bob Menendez. I could go all day. Where's the lesser evil? Out of all the people I just told you guys are some of the most corrupt politicians in the world, period. These people are war criminals. They got blood on their hands. They're complicit with the police state. When people tell me that the Democratic Party is the lesser of two evils, when people have Trump derangement syndrome, which is based on the premise that Trump is somehow worse than everyone else, that does not click to me. Because what is one thing they always said about Donald Trump? Donald Trump is a unique level of corruption. CJ? Trump is a unique level of corruption because Trump did something we've never seen before. He used politics to enrich his family. No one ever did that before. You know that Donald Trump took money from Saudi Arabia he funneled it to his hotels? No one ever did that before. Not that we had a Clinton Foundation that took money from Saudi Arabia, right? Do you know,
deeply unserious. Deeply unserious.
Trump used play-to-pay politics. Do you know Trump is a notorious liar? Trump lies all the time. Trump is a liar, even though we had Joe Biden who said he protested with Nelson Mandela.
Exactly.
So Trump derangement syndrome never made sense to me. So let's go back. What's one thing they always say about Trump? Oh my God, Trump and the Republican parties are unique corruption. They're a unique evil because they use politics to enrich their family. Eric Adams just took office and he is already showing an unbelievable amount of incompetence and corruption. And subscribe, hit the bell, share it to your friends. Because I promise you, this channel is going to hold Eric Adams accountable more than anyone else. Because I have warned you guys about Eric Adams during the New York Mirror race. So let me share this. I think that's a good preface here. CJ, you have anything you want to add?
No, I want to get to this Eric Adams stuff. So I'm gonna let you continue.
Check this out. I'm gonna zoom this in. New York City Mayor Eric Adams named younger brother deputy NYPD commissioner, raising more concerns about conflict of interest. So this is the third of Adams' friends or family that got a position in his administration. Play to pay politics. Now, this is something that is an ongoing theme of Eric Adams here. I thought I had to say, I want to show you guys this shit. But I want to show you guys like this guy that I don't gotta say, but Bernard Adams, the guy that he put in this position, that is a job that paid $200,000 a year.
This is his younger brother.
Yeah, his younger brother. So let's read the story. Let's dive into this because I don't want to do it credit, but according to based on what I've seen, his last job was like he was a parking ticket like official, like administrator, like so clearly this guy. The point is, I fucked up. I can't find the link, but the point is, this guy has no qualifications for this job. So New York City Mayor Eric Adams reportedly appointed his brother Bernard Adams to the position of deputy commissioner to the NYPD. So They make $240,000 a year. So let me tell you guys how corrupt our country is.
But Democrats are different. Democrats are different. That sounds just like Donald Trump putting in people.
Remember they used to complain about Trump and his nepotism, how he enriches the family, even though Biden did the same thing. So Eric Adams, he is elected because he is propped up by big corporate cash, right? So I want you guys to break this down. He's elected only because he propped up by corporate cash. He was propped up by the Democratic Party machine apparatus. He was propped up by K-Hive. I was warned, like people, it was easy to make the Andrew Yang diss track. And I'm gonna show you guys some old tweets I told you guys. I was warning people, it's easy to laugh at Andrew Yang, but Eric Adams was the worst evils in this election. He was the worst candidate. And I tweeted literally last year around the same time. I'm like, bro, I don't care who wins. I don't care if Andrew Yang wins, as long as this motherfucker doesn't win. Because I knew about Eric Adams a long time ago. This guy, Eric Adams, he was a cop. And he was interviewed last year, and he said he still believes in stop and frisk.
Yeah,
and the Democratic Party establishment put so much resources into his election. So despite all the money they raised, he got elected because of corporate money. So then you get elected, and then you put your brother in charge of this position that he get paid $240,000 a year. This is direct, in your face corruption. Direct, in your face corruption. That's essentially the corporations that paid his brother. If you think about it this way, if the corporations got you elected and then you give your brother a job that paid $200,000 a year, you might as well say the corporation signed his fucking check.
Right.
CJ, anything you want to add? I got a few more things.
Well, I mean, I just, like I was saying about, like, this is like literally it. Like, if you just took the name out, you might think that this is Donald Trump when he entered it. What his brother, his son-in-law, forget his name. The son-in-law that married his daughter. Like, this is the same unqualified being put in that position, that foreign policy position, like unqualified, just because he's a relative. Oh, it's somebody I trust. Really? That's not how public office is supposed to be. So my question then would be, if he's making this decision, do you think he's going to all of a sudden start making a bunch of good decisions? Is that what you think is going to happen? That will be my question. I'll pass it back to you, Nick.
So you guys see the massive corruption in Eric Adams. And Eric Adams is why the Democrat Party is the party of the police state. Once again, I told you guys how he supports stop and frisk. He was largely supported by giant police unions during his election. And when he ran explicitly against the Black Lives Matter movement and defund the police. He was scaremonger. He was one of the people that said, "Oh my God, defund the police is the worst thing ever." And if we support this, it will be the end of Black people. Like, he was one of those people, right? And there was the breaking story. I haven't been covering this far, and I hope you guys can help me correct this. But there was just like this fire that happened, and this. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I have.
In the New York City. So I've been following this. So once again, this already shown how horrific Eric Adams is. So I did some digging. I was looking around. So 19 people died due to the malfunction.
I know where you're going. On this. I have that shit written down. I had that shit written down too. I'm like, this is disgusting right here.
Go ahead. I'll pass to you, see that's how I read it. So since you know exactly what I'm going with. So it's not like Eric Adams is picking these people because they're qualified. There are 9 million people in New York? So there are 9 million people in New York, but you pick your brother as New York commissioner. So do liberals really believe out of 9 million people that Eric Adams believed that it just so happened that his brother is the most qualified?
Right.
So now look at this. 19 people have died due to the malfunctioning space heater in a building that was inadequately and illegally heated, with other likely fire code violations. And the owner is on Eric Adams' house transition team.
Yep. Investment group. He's part of an investment group. This guy.
It's all corrupted, bro. I mean, it's all connected.
It's not a coincidence that it's the most vulnerable people. Who are they? Immigrants. African immigrants were the main residents of this complex. African immigrants. were the main residents. I mean, what was it? A space heater that caught fire? What, you know what that tells me? That this slumlord or this landlord or landowner didn't care anything about these people and didn't put in a safe system because they were trying to save money because they're African immigrants and who cares about them, right? It's terrible. It's terrible. And this guy, the owner, I think it's the owner, right? Yeah, owned by this investment group, is on his transition team. Eric Adams. The Democrats are the same as the Republicans. Back to you, Nick.
And they also wage class war. The difference between this channel and others focus on mostly deeply on serious shit. At least me, I can say I focus on the class war, foreign policy, state violence. And I want you guys to understand that Eric Adams is the most loyal class warrior that the oligarchy has. So this clip was floating around, but since this is our Eric Adams this video, I want to include it because I want to show you guys the mindset of people like Eric Adams. So if you believe that the Democratic Party are our closest ally, you are deeply mistaken. You are deeply mistaken. So I'm gonna let the clip speak for itself, and we're gonna break down, analyze it. But I hope it doesn't take too long because there's much to analyze in this clip.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So give me a second to set this up, and I want you guys to see the mindset. And I'm gonna explain the role that Eric Adams is playing. Yeah, Sabby already knows the clip I'm about to play, but check this out, guys.
Okay, I'll get that up there.
If my businesses are sharing with their employees, you are part of the ecosystem of this city. My low-skilled workers, my cooks, my dishwashers, my messengers, my shoe shine people, those who work in Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have the academic skills to sit in a corner office. They need this. We are in this together system of this city. My low-skilled workers, my cooks, my city, my low-skilled workers.
Just terrible.
Where do I even start? Where do I even start? For one, this is what I do. Point out these hypocrisies. Isn't it funny how when you had Donald Trump in charge, these people was essential workers. They was heroes. Now they are low-skilled workers. they are low-skilled workers. And I want you guys to understand.
But why do you have to be titled that? Just a side question. Just think about that. Why can't you just say workers? Just think about, why does capitalism has to label a worker low skill? What does that do? What does the reference low skill do for the discussion?
It's funny that you ask. It's funny that you ask. Because once again, this is an anti-capitalist channel. I hear the debunk this propaganda. There is no such thing as a low-skilled worker, guys. Period. Amen. Either these people are essential or they're not. The quality and value of a worker is the quality and value that they bring to their community and the revenue that they raise, right? So the concept that you have low-skilled workers in a service-based economy like the United States is absurd. So you have workers that can create enough wealth to create billionaires. You have retail workers that can create the wealth of the Walton family, but they are low-skilled workers. How are you low-skilled, but you're creating that much revenue? They are not low-skilled. What they do is extremely important. It's just that our ruling class, the capitalist class, steals their labor value. That is what it is. So why is Eric Adams calling them low-skilled workers? Because I told you, there is no more loyal dog to the oligarchy than Eric Adams. So
you just answered your question.
Yeah.
You absolutely answered your question. You answered your question by saying they steal wealth. You got to have a reason. If you call them low-skilled workers, guess what everybody else is okay with you doing to them? Paying them a little money because they're low-skilled. It's capitalism is so sinister. And any way it can save money, they don't care. Sexism, racism, underpaying. They don't care because a saved dollar is a saved dollar. The result of it is irrelevant. So it's all a psychological, it's a propaganda game to get people to just think about that. You've gotten Americans to be okay with being paid $7.25. You know the level of propaganda, Nick, that you have to be under for you to be okay with being paid $7.25 an hour for multiple years. Do you understand the level? Oh, well, I don't deserve more money because if I deserve more money, they got to raise their prices. It's going to eat into their profits, and that's going to raise their prices. It's all internalizing why you shouldn't be made more. Oh, I'm a low skilled. It says low skilled. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do almost any job because you're trained on any job, unless you're talking about something like the medical field that requires certain steps that you do have to learn. But you're talking about a business marketing, there ain't no certain business steps you learn. You go, they're going to teach you over there. So it's a way of demoralizing people enough to where they're okay with being paid that. Because if you call them a low-skilled worker, then they're okay with being paid low. But the problem is they made the problem with trying to get those low-skilled workers to go out and risk their lives. What they did was try to propagandize them and pump them up. Oh, you're essential. And then that woke them up a little bit, Nick. Now they're realizing, yeah, I am essential, and I do need to get paid more than this little bit of money that you're paying me. And I think that's part of, I know I'm jumping around, but that's part of Great Resignation. All of these things are interlinked. So that's why I kind of jump around. But go ahead, Nick.
I'm so glad I found this clip. I can't believe I found it. So check this out, guys. Just for the people who believe that there's such thing as a low-skilled worker, check this out. This worker earns $1.86 per 60 bundle of radishes. Look at check this out. I can't do this shit. Look at this. Look at the skill, precision, and efficiency that this takes. And also consider the physical requirement that this requires for you to do this all day.
Let me explain. Let me just say, because this is giving me a mood of slavery, picking cotton. This is what I'm feeling here. It stems from that. It's that physical work, slavery. That's low skill. You like what? Like the white supremacy is about like low skill. You're just low skilled. Okay, you're just doing physical work. Anybody could do that. What I do, which is managing all of you, that's where the big money's supposed to come, right? Go ahead, Nick. It's so ridiculous.
I love that point.
Ridiculous.
I love that point, man. Because look at this work. Look at what this work and requires, right? And then these same right wingers, like we came out video in favor of open borders because I challenge these motherfuckers. These same people have the nerve to say that we shouldn't have these people around, as if these fucking lazy, spoiled, rotten, boogie motherfuckers gonna do their job,
right?
Do you really think that these fucking people in the Hamptons, not. These white Absolutely these fucking conservative motherfuckers who hate immigrants, do they really think that we're gonna have people do this shit? These people are experts at what they do.
That's easily a $50 an hour job. That's easily a 5 hour. That's easily $50 an hour for the labor they're doing. That is skill in order to pick at that pace so that you are able to make money. And I bet she's picking at that pace because she's been conditioned to pick at that pace to make sure that she can maximize all the money, just like what they did in slavery, Nick. You know what they used to do? The person who could pick the most cotton, you put him up there. Anybody who's not matching that motherfucker picking gonna get his ass beat. That's what they used to do. That's what they used to do. Put the one who's picking the cotton the most, put him up there, and you tell everybody else, you go slower than him, you're going to be in trouble. It's the same concept, and that's why I was getting reminiscent of slavery as I'm seeing that video. It's like, it's that, and it comes from slavery. You got to understand, American capitalism's template is slavery. That is the best capitalism they've ever experienced. You understand? Because you're paying zero. What do you want labor cost to be? The lowest it's be because not because, but the lowest it can be. And what is the lowest for slavery it was zero. So they're always reaching towards that and the production of that, maximizing every inch you're doing. This second, if you turn around, you better have something in your hand and be productive. You're moving this way, you go in the bathroom, you got to be productive. I've heard Amazon, you're peeing at your station at Amazon. You have pee stations have you heard this, Nick?
Yeah.
Where it's like a cup or a bowl or something.
That's cool. Did a good job reporting on this, man.
It's the same concept of slavery. It's the same concept. That's where they're getting this productivity from. That's where they're getting the concept about how to be so productive is from the concept of slavery. It's from the experience of slavery and what it did. Go ahead.
No, that just we can look at this amazing field worker, but it doesn't even extend even more than that, guys. Because this is the last argument I'm making. We can start wrapping up because I want to expose the deeply unserious logic of capitalists and why people like Eric Adams use the term like low skilled workers, right? So there's this term that capitalists made popular and people use it all the time. And when I see people use it, I can tell that they did not decolonize their mind. When I see people use this term, I'm like, your mind's colonized as fuck. When people think that people that work at Burger King and McDonald's are just burger flippers. You hear that term? People are like, oh, he's just a burger flipper. You think that burger flipper deserves a living wage? You think that burger flipper deserves $30 an hour? In fact, since you asked, I think they do. Because I can take your ideology and I can explain why using your ideology. So let's think about what these people do. I already explained the fact that if you work at McDonald's, you're a worker for a massively profitable company. So the fact that your work alone brings revenue means that your work is valuable, right?
Right.
But also, what these people, what capitalists will argue, they will say, "Oh, we pay doctors a lot of money because with doctors, they are extremely important to society. That's why we pay doctors a lot. Lawyers, we pay lawyers a lot because they're extremely important to society. But if you are a burger flipper, you are extremely important to society as well. Because think about what you do. Because I used to be part of the capitalist machine. I used to sell cars for a living, for example. So what do you do around 12 to 1 o'clock every single fucking day? If you're a productive worker, you going in and you are feeding yourself, you're providing yourself energy so you can continue to be productive per day. So if you are a quote unquote burger flipper, imagine how many workers you are feeding per day. Especially imagine if you work at a busy McDonald's. Like there's a busy area like in Overland Park where I used to work at. Business is booming over there. I know because I used to wait in these long ass lines to get my lunch. So I don't even know the number. Like imagine how many hundreds of people that these workers are serving every day. These people serve lawyers. These people serve accountants. These people serve people who then take the energy and the convenience of them not because they don't have to cook. Since they don't have to cook, they can quickly feed themselves. Now they can get back to work because of the burger flipper. So the burger flipper has an extremely valuable role in a capitalist society that demands production because he is feeding you motherfuckers.
Right, so, but what are they downplaying again in that physical labor? And again, that it stems back from slavery, physical labor, not dumbing down, but not valuing that, saying anybody can do it. Look at these niggers are doing it. So anybody can do it, devaluing. So it's from the beginning, devaluing that. Go ahead.
Let's explore that. And I also wanted to bring that up. I'm glad you mentioned that as well. Because once again, this is a process that took me a very long time, decolonizing your mind, right? There's also another capitalist flawed logic that's not even true. So even if they acknowledge that these people are important to society, that they bring revenue, what's their next go-to? Oh, they shouldn't be paid that much because there's not value in that work because anyone can do it. Anyone can be a McDonald's burger flipper. That is not true, and it has never been true. Everyone can be hired as a burger flipper. You most likely will be able to get hired. Your ability to get hired does not mean you can do the job. Being a professional, quote unquote, burger flipper is something that most people cannot do. It's a giant reason why turnover rates are high. The physical demands it mentally breaks people.
I've done it. And I only lasted a couple of days. And like I said, not everybody can do it. I couldn't do it, and I didn't want to do it, and I got out of there. But I'm going back to it again. It's just a devaluing of labor because you're pointing out everybody can't do that. Everybody just can't stand on their feet with this hot thing in their face. Everybody can't do that. Grease popping up and you're flipping burgers. And it's on a timer. You have to go in and out. So you have to be quick. Not everybody can do that. What they're meaning to say is this is physical work that we don't value. Because there is physical work that they do value more, like playing football or playing basketball. That's physical work that they do value more, but those people are put through things. They're getting surgery on top of surgery, getting injected and all that stuff. So don't get me into the whole conversation with sports either, because that has a whole tinge of slavery around it too. So that's my take. I know we need to wrap up. Any comments there? Go ahead. Yeah,
we can wrap them in. Like,
I'll pop some comments up.
I wanted to cover the Eric Adams, and I got requests from you guys. And I'm gonna start trying to make more clips of these segments. I know some people ask for shorter clips. I know it can be hard to watch these longer shows, so I'm gonna try to do that more. That's why I wanted to at least get the Eric Adams story in there. But thank you for sticking there, and everyone. But what would you about to say, CJ? We can. No,
I was just telling you if you had any last comments on that topic before we wrapped up. That was.
Oh yeah, we can. We can just wrap it. The last thing I'll say is just to wrap that topic is you guys see how Eric Adams repeat the low skilled worker claim, right? And then over the last 10 to 15 minutes, we thoroughly debunked it. But do not get it twisted, guys. The liberal class and the Democrat Party wholeheartedly believes in the low skilled worker myth.
Yes, they do.
The same way Republicans believe in the low skilled worker myth. That's why we're covering it. The message of this show, if you think the Democratic Party and if you think anyone who's an operative of the Democratic Party is on your side, if you think anyone who believes in a low skilled worker fallacy is on your side, you're deeply serious, and you can't be an effective ally if you can't even acknowledge your resistance, right? So that's the last thing I want to say. Thank you for everyone for watching. Announcement: we had our International Leftist show on Saturday, but my Muay Thai schedule messing things up. So I don't think we can do Tuesday nights. So we're floating new like time slot ideas for the International Leftist Coalition live stream we usually do. I'm also thinking about just handling that show to Josana and just letting that be Josana's show, and then I can be the occasional guest. Because you guys know I have schedule change, so I don't know if I can do Tuesday nights. So hopefully you guys enjoy the Saturday episode, and just keep your ear to the ground because we got to announce a new date.
Well, Wednesday, we can talk the schedule, but I think Wednesday's open, and I can fill in. Like, I want to do 2 more shows: Free Black America podcast and the Propaganda Report. So I don't have a particular day. I'm just going to insert it wherever there's missing space. I'll just wait for people.
It's good that you're flexible because I'm dealing with like Dr. Kareem Batesh, Dr. Peter Beatty, Dr. Assault. Yeah. These people are busy people. The fact that we even had we had to pick that Tuesday night because like Kareem and Peter is in Hong Kong, so there's a giant time zone gap. So, so we talk about it more behind the scenes, but we got to find a time slot for International Leftists. So it won't be Tuesday night anymore. I want to talk to Josana because I'm like, you can just take like that could be your show. Like I had a Tuesday night, so you can kind of take that banner over. I think that'd be a good idea. But so nothing Tuesday I got planned. I just want to let you guys know nothing Tuesday planned now. My new show is Saturdays. Like I announced that a few weeks ago, but it just so happened that Christmas was on Saturday and then New Year's on Saturday, and I had family obligations. So I was back this last Saturday, and we had Dr. Kareem Batesh, Danny Haifong on, and I really want my Saturday show to be like you guys see how we have loose forum conversations. Like I'm probably gonna have. Like the first part of my show, I might dive into stories, and I'm gonna bring on a guest, so we can really dive into certain, like each individual leftist issue perspective. Like this next Saturday, I'm gonna have Pasta from the Convo Couch. I'm gonna have Misty from Bit from Misty, Comrade Misty, friend of the show. We're gonna talk about the rise of the crackdown of freedom of speech, like the U.S. sanctions. I'm gonna talk to Pasta about the time in Nicaragua and Honduras. So I got a lot of great guests lined up for Saturday. Like I'm gonna have like it's gonna be a rotation of guests. Like so it's a new thing. I'm having fun with this. So tune on that. So Tuesday and Thursday I'm not gonna be available. So Saturdays I'm gonna be free though. So also make sure you guys Patreon throw some support to us that way so we can continue to make great content. Because this I can tell by the content of this stream we already been demonetized. Like I literally went through YouTube Studios. Now I'm not lying. 4 out of 5 of our last live stream.
Yeah, I've been seeing that on the app.
Like if you want to, like that's the best way to support us. Like all these, like YouTube is not gonna fucking help us. Twitch not gonna help us. So Ko-fi, Patreon, like that's why we got our cash apps here. Like we do that, because, like bro, that's the only way you can do it. Like that's the best. Like if you leave a super chat, like YouTube taking all that shit. So the best way to support is that way. So I thank all you guys for watching. That's all I have. You have any announcements, CJ?
Yeah, I'll be on Wednesday, 3 p.m. straight out of politics. I don't know the launch date for 2 new shows I'm going to be doing, but that's coming. So just look for that. I'll let you know.
Yeah, Caleb is on the pipeline. Like I have like this long guest list. I have so many people that I got. I just don't got enough time, man. Like I got a long ass guest list. I definitely want to get Caleb on. That's a long time coming. I got so many people that it's been long overdue to bring them on. Like, I still want to get Black in the Empire. I need to get Black in the Empire. I want to get him on a Saturday show. I want to get man. There's so many people. There's so many people, man. Just so many. Anyway, just stay tuned. Saturday show is gonna be me. I'm gonna be talking to people. Like you guys saw, like the last Saturday show with Haifong and Kareem Batesh. It's gonna be like that. That's kind of I wanted to be like a sit down conversation between real leftists talking about different ideas. So that's what I got planned. Sorry, CJ, go ahead.
No, that's pretty. Yeah, this show and that show. That's pretty much it. Until my other shows launch. And Thursday is the roundtable still. Friday is Sabrina. Saturday we got Nick, and then Sunday, or is Sabrina still on Fridays?
Yes, she does Fridays.
And then Sunday is JB, and then we're back here on Monday. Support us if you can. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell somebody else to subscribe. We want to push to 15,000 subscribers. And
we need your help. With your help. The algorithm's not gonna help us. We need your help.
We need your help. So this has been a great conversation. We hope that we'll be able to chop these up a little bit and get you some smaller cuts. So just bear with us with that. And we Nick, if you don't have anything else,
check out JB interview. Also subscribe to JB's channel as well. Help him grow.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm gonna relaunch my YouTube channel later this year. Like it's good. But anyway, I got a lot of plans on that. It could be more monster.
Yeah.
But anyway, so check out like CJ's channel as well. So anyway, thank you guys for
Populous
watching.
Voice, yeah,
Populous Voice. Thank you guys for watching. Nick and CJ sign out. Take care, guys.
Yes, sir.